Hello, everyone. Uh, welcome.
Hello.
Wait and see if we get a
Hi.
few people in here. For anybody that's going to be watching the live stream after it's been recorded, um, we got a bit of crackling going on from somebody.
It's not me. I'm muted.
Who's crackling?
Um, was it Leela? Maybe. I'm not sure. Um, but for everybody that will be watching the live stream, in post, welcome, welcome. Obviously, we're the Tavern. Tonight, our guests are going to be from the good, the bad, and the horrible. If everybody wants to come on in and say a big hello, we'll start with Miss Scarlett. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you for
Hey,
having us.
Landon?
Oh, hello. I'm Landon.
You kill me,
well,
dude.
hey guys, I'm Chase, and I'm just happy to be here.
Welcome, Chase. It's nice to have another dude on the show. Can't be surrounded by women. We gotta give ourselves a little room.
Absolutely, I'll do my best.
Yeah,
What
I
are
think
you
we're on four
implying,
on three
Brandon?
now.
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Nothing we can't handle.
That's right. Fly by the seat of our pants.
We have
Nothing
an
we can't
equal
handle.
balance. We have an equal balance here, okay?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, equal-ish.
Hey guys. Hey guys, it's Hazel.
Hazel, how are you?
I'm
Do you speak
doing
in a southern
awesome.
accent? I couldn't resist. I'm
Thank you
sorry.
guys for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be a great
Willow,
night.
can we bring you in, Willow? I see you're still on mute.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good, good.
Thanks for having us.
It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So, Miss Scarlett, since you're kind of the ringleader of the squad, you keeping these guys in order. Uh, can you give us a little breakdown of what
Hell
your
no.
show is all about?
Well, we have a sex podcast, and there is no reeling this group in. No topic do we agree on, but I love that because it brings some very interesting conversations and debates. So we have fun. We have a lot of fun.
You
Yeah.
said sex podcast? I guess it's time to, you know, put on the red light.
Absolutely. Yes, our very first episode is about swallowing. So we started with that, and we touch on everything from orgies to blowjobs to how to make a girl squirt with 98% effectiveness. So you name it, we've probably talked about it.
Landon, you watch that
And
episode yet?
But now I guess I'm gonna.
and if we haven't spoken about I'm sure it's gonna come up.
Exactly.
Well, it usually
And
does,
Hazel,
right?
If they do it right, if they do it right.
Hey,
so
Miss Ann,
Hazel
yes,
is
we
our
can.
size queen, and
Hi.
she's actively in the lifestyle. So she does a lot of educating and lets us know how us vanilla people should see it, or at least educates us on how people in the lifestyle see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Swinger stuff and BDSM. That's my lifestyle. That's my go-to. Um, and if you guys have listened to the episodes where Chase has been on, we see we're both into the BDSM lifestyle.
Okay.
We like to touch.
Do we?
Yeah, so we've talked about various things in the BDSM world. We've talked about monogamy versus non-monogamy. We actually have an episode where we did a debate, 2 against 2, talking about the merits of monogamy versus non-monogamy.
I remember that
Um,
episode.
yeah, we've touched on swinging. I don't think we have a whole episode
Yeah,
on
that was a
swinging,
good
but we've
episode.
talked about it. we've talked about it in various episodes. Also, just relationship topics. We have one called "Why Nice Guys Finish Last" and the definition of simp, and just different things that relate to relationships, not so much sex. So we kind of cover it all as it relates to love, sex, and relationships.
So,
Very
what
true.
made you want to do that show? Like, what brought that on?
So I've had a business podcast now for over a year, and so I wasn't new to podcasting in general, but I really, really wanted to do one that was just for fun and talking about topics that were certainly not okay, would be very taboo to bring up on my business podcast. So I wanted one where we could talk about literally anything. And so it actually came up at a dinner with two girlfriends. There was three of us initially that started the podcast. The other two girls are no longer with the podcast,
Oh,
but three of us together brainstormed, tossed around a lot of ideas, and it all came together. And I was like, let's actually do this. Like, let's not just let this drop and it be this idea that never came, you know? So I found a producer and we met with the producer, and a few weeks later we had a podcast. So that is how it all got started.
You know, I was actually going to ask because so I started listening to your newer episodes and worked my way backwards. Obviously, I haven't finished all of it, but at a certain point after listening to 5 or 6 of your new episodes, I went back to the beginning and decided I was going to listen through. And at the beginning, I was like, wait a minute, I don't recognize this voice. And I meant to ask, how did you end up being the ringleader?
Well, like I said, originally it was three of us, and I'm the only original host left. So the other girls had other opportunities that they followed, which, you know, I'm proud of them and the path that they're going. And, you know,
Absolutely.
there was no ill will or anything like that. So,
No, more power to them.
and sometimes Coco periodically pops back in, but Lana, she moved on to a huge business opportunity that she had, a position of leadership where she didn't feel like it was going to be a good look for her to continue on a sex podcast. So more power to her. She's doing great. She's trying to get all of us to go to the Dominican Republic with her. So she's doing very well.
Fancy.
Shout out to Lana.
So, yeah.
Lana, girl,
Yeah,
where you
she's
at?
doing
I'm
great.
trying to go with you.
Yeah, she was telling me about buying properties in Dominican Republic. I'm like, hey, more power
Holy
to you,
crap.
girl. I'm glad you're doing well. So yeah, I'm sure if you listened to new episodes and then went back to the beginning, you were probably very confused, going, who are these people?
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so if you continue listening, you'll kind of see the progression, because for a while it was just the three of us. I think for like the first 10 episodes or so. And then we started incorporating different guests. Hazel came on, I think, somewhere around 9 or 10. So
Yeah.
she's been there for quite a while. And then all the people that are there now are fairly new, except for Hazel and Lolita, who have been around since about episode 10.
Very nice.
So let's go around and find out how y'all all came to be a part of the podcast. I think that'd be an interesting story.
Well,
All right. Who would you like to start with?
Oh, go ahead.
Go
you
for
can
it.
start with Hazel.
Hazel here. So, Scarlett and friends.
Oh, we lost Hazel.
I lost her. Okay.
She's back.
Lana's birthday dinner, and the entire
Hold on. Hazel, you dropped off. Start from the beginning. I think we lost her again.
Uh-oh.
and
Connectivity must be going.
Hazel, can you hear us?
so
We're only hearing prepositions from Hazel now.
Wasn't that an interesting
How about
story,
I
guys?
jump in and we go?
I just open them up to a
Hazel,
little bit of
can you hear us?
my sexual experiences, and once I came on, we were rocking and rolling. But we've been friends for a while now. Scarlett and I, and with Coco and Lana, like we all know each other, so we've have been friends for a while.
That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah,
So Chase,
So
I think you were about
Hazel,
to. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was sure. I met Scarlett and we started talking about some things, and I think she just likes the fact that I give pushback on everything. So we got together, we met, we went out to dinner, we started talking, and I think I have a unique experience in my life. So we started talking a little bit about it, and she said, would you come on? Some of the things I asked her about. I got asked to do a podcast about dating and relationships. And I did I would say, a couple practice shows on that. And then I came to her with some ideas. You've ever heard like dating outside your league, about why women do certain things, about why men want certain things and why certain things happen. If you listen, you know what we're talking about. I don't want to get off on a tangent here. But she asked me, she said, come on. I said, sure. I think it's interesting. I love hearing how and why people do things. Why is the big thing for me? And then whether it's sex, relationships, whatever it is, listening to people and why they do it. And then when they give me a bullshit answer, I'll give them a little pushback and get to the real reason. And I like doing that.
That honestly, I think is one of the best dynamics y'all have on the show is the fact that, because usually the girls have very valid points, but they tend to agree with each other. So when you come in with something else, it gives that good back and forth. And I think that really keeps the listeners engaged. So I like that they have you on the show now. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, they are
I
women.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really
we can.
glad to have Chase. Not only does he have a polarizing personality that people either love or hate, which adds a really exciting element to the podcast, but it also adds this interesting dynamic because him and I used to date and we've had sex with each other and we can talk about those experiences like as now platonic friends, but it's a very interesting dynamic because how often do you hear people that have had those experiences together be able to talk about that and like analyze it from all these different angles that we're coming at things. So
Very
it's
true.
multi-dimensional and really cool.
Yeah, it makes it go well. So it's very interesting.
So let's swing on
It
over
is.
to you, Willow. Can you tell us how you got joined in on the podcast?
I actually just answered an ad that Scarlett had put out. I'm just an empty nester, and I thought it'd be kind of out of my box. I'm kind of quiet and shy. I know that surprises people, but I am. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting to see if I could do it. And sex is not something that I was born or raised around to talk about. It was very taboo. So this is really out of my wheelhouse. So raised very conservatively, religiously in a small town. So this is something way out of my realm. So it's been kind of challenging, but I've learned a lot. And I'm getting different perspectives. So, knowledge is power, and I'm getting a lot of different perspectives on relationships and what the new norm is on different aspects of relationships, and what people want, and what other avenues there are. So it's been kind of enlightening and a learning experience, even being kind of an older adult. So it's been really fun. It's fun.
I feel that to my core because, I'm a Southern male, deep South. So we're
Hmm.
down in that Bible Belt
Hmm.
and in a 12-year marriage, So I understand where you're coming from because listening to the podcast, I'm like, wow, this is how people live. These are the way that they do things. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking, I've been with the same woman for 12 years. So it's
Hmm.
interesting to see those other perspectives and hear what other people are going through and how dating has changed. Because
Yeah.
last time I dated, it was very different. There wasn't
Right.
what is it? What are the dating sites they have now? The Hello.
Bumble,
Tinder,
Hinge.
Bumble.
Hinge,
Okay,
And
let's just be honest.
That line.
Blah, blah,
Let's just be
blah.
straight up. Tinder is not a dating site. Tinder's a fuck
Yeah,
site.
That's a
Yeah.
booty
yeah,
call.
No,
I agree.
bullshit.
It's
Yeah.
a hook. It's a,
Correct.
Bullshit. I have met
It-
plenty of people that I've
it's a
dated on
hookup.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
see, and
You've met
I'm
plenty of people you've had sex with on Tinder.
yeah,
But I've also found people that I've dated.
I've just
Mm.
found
Okay, I would think you yes, ask what the definition of date is. You went to dinner before you went to bed, but that's fine. That's fine. Tinder's a hookup site. Yeah.
and
Okay, so what is your definition of dating? When you say dating, what do you mean?
I would say dating with a purpose. You don't go on Tinder to find a soulmate. You go on Tinder to find somebody you're renting. You're not even leasing on Tinder. You're renting for the night.
I have
you're
to
not
agree
buying
with
or leasing.
Chase.
it's,
I agree with Chase. Tinder's not for dating. Tinder is definitely for hookups. And if you're going there to date, great for you, but
You will be sadly
99% of the
disappointed.
people, 99% of the people know that whenever they're on Tinder, they're looking for a hookup.
it's
yeah,
true.
and see, I
Yeah.
come from a generation, like I said on different podcasts, that we went to the bars and picked up people. So all these apps and all this other crap, there was no swiping to the left or right or whatever. It was just like we keyed in on somebody and we went home or hooked up. That's what we did. So this is all very brand new to me. So it's been a learning experience, but it's interesting.
It's very convenient. It's very
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah, I would have loved this stuff when I was out younger and not married.
Hmm.
And I think if you're trying to date with a purpose, these sites are the devil's work. But that's me.
I believe that.
I tell you what, the
Yeah.
dating pool
I know
in
what
today's
you mean.
society is full of piss.
One more time. Sorry,
Say that
Lady.
again.
I said, I'll tell you, in today's society, I believe the dating pool is full of piss.
Oh, at best, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to wade through the piss to get to anything worthwhile.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Well,
wait,
that's because the
I think
guys.
Needing to be
First
lemonade.
off, that's because half the guys on there want to take you to damn Applebee's.
Hey,
don't do
you
that.
should be damn happy to go to Applebee's. You'll be damn happy to go to Applebee's. You'll eat that, let people point in, you'll like it.
You
in
know,
all
my,
fairness,
It's
I
better
have
than
yet
a
to ask
gas
permission to go to
station,
Applebee's.
Hazel.
Maybe that's my problem. I
Yeah.
didn't say, hey, let's go to Applebee's for dinner.
Right.
That's the problem.
Well, the problem now is what you need to do. I said the first dates I go on now, I'm going to get an Uncrustable orange slices of Capri Sun and sit on a park
My
bench. You
man.
can't have fun doing that. I'm not going to spend money on you taking you to, a big dinner. What's the point?
God.
That's
you
right.
know, my favorite thing to say to a lady is, "Damn, baby, I'd like to take you to a reasonably priced restaurant, and if you're good, I'll get you a
Oh,
bottle of champagne afterwards."
that's a great way to get blocked.
As Hazel would say, blocky block.
Blocked.
But I think it's
But
just
yeah,
I think it's just humans in general. I think we've kind of lost sense of kindness and goodness, and I think it just wallows over into the dating and relationship
agree.
pool.
Yeah, we're
well,
So-
that's
in the
because
It's
Fixing
it's
attention is-
laziness. It's laziness.
well, attention's become a commodity now. Attention's
Yeah.
a currency. People go on
Yeah.
dating
Yeah.
sites to get swipes with no. If you've ever dated on a Hinge or a Bumble, ones you actually date on, you'll get people. Even if they swipe on you, half of them just want to text back and forth. They're married. They don't want to date. They just want attention. I
Right.
mean,
Oh.
it's a currency now.
Or
Mhm.
they can't even hold a freaking conversation.
Yeah.
Mm.
These
You know,
people,
that's
Yeah.
one thing I
these
like
guys
to see.
dry as fuck.
What I like to see is I see these bios and it says at least be able to hold a conversation, and then we match, and I'm sitting down trying to lead a conversation and I'm getting no feedback. And it's like, so I stop messaging and I don't get no messaging back. Like it's like, what are you doing?
So, can I speak to that, Landon?
Sure.
We women are inundated on these, absolutely inundated. So you're probably on competition with at least 20 other guys that are also messaging the same woman. So
Oh, I
if
hear
it's not drawing her in and hooking
Yeah.
her, she's lost interest.
I
Okay.
agree.
I mean, that's
I
honestly what
agree
it is.
1,000%. Most of the guys that message they say the same thing. Hey, beautiful. Hey,
That's right.
gorgeous. Hey,
Yeah.
like, how's your
Honestly, if
day?
you're saying,
Like,
yeah, if you're saying the same thing that 20 other men are saying, I'm not even responding anymore.
right.
Okay. Landon opens up with a very specific thing, and I have been telling him to get rid of it, and he don't believe me. He thinks it's
Oh,
the greatest
Lord.
thing in the world. Landon, now's your time, buddy.
Tell us,
Now's your
tell
time to
us.
shine.
Yes.
Oh, do you by chance happen
We
to
will
know how
be
much a polar
brutally
bear weighs?
honest. Tell us.
All right, say it
Yes,
again.
please.
Do you by chance know how much a polar bear weighs?
Blocked.
Enough to break the ice.
Yeah, no. Just no.
Yeah, enough to break the ice.
That's boring. That's
What?
boring.
No.
I'm
Get
sorry.
rid of
We're
that.
not good at this shit. It just happens.
Bury
In my
it.
If you
opinion,
deal with the humor, then
Ask
you know.
my
me
it-
something
opinion, the
about-
best strategy is to
No.
learn what you can about her and speak to something that spoke to you about her
Yes.
profile. The reason why you swiped on her.
Yes.
Speak to that. Was it her smile? Was there something she said that resonated with you? Was there some kind of commonality? Start speaking to her about what it was that drew you to her. That is, in my opinion, the best strategy you can take.
I
And don't
agree.
be
Those
honest,
notes,
Landon,
boy.
because you say nice tits, they probably won't respond. So don't be honest.
And
So,
please,
don't
for
say
the
nice
love of
tits.
God, no dick pics. For the love
Whoa,
of
whoa,
God.
whoa, whoa! Please,
Oh,
speak for
Hazel would
yourself.
want those.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
was gonna say.
Well,
Exception
Speak
of
for
Hazel.
yourself.
Exception of
Hazel
Hazel.
needs proof.
Yeah.
And then don't say nice tits, right? Is that what you
Hazel
said?
needs proof up front.
Correct. I said don't. I
Yeah.
said don't be
Don't
honest.
say
Because if you're
nice
honest,
tits.
you're not.
Okay,
if
so
you're
no
honest, you're not
honesty
going to
laws.
get
Just
anywhere.
lie to 'em.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
Yeah, you should just because
Lie.
you again just what Scarlett said is you're in competition with 20 people. 20
Right.
people thinking they're all women want honesty and truth. They don't. You're
They
fighting
don't.
for that date. Once you win the date, then be honest because then you'll see what you get. But until
Oh,
you win it,
yeah.
nah, be full
Yeah.
of shit.
So
I'll agree with that.
basically,
I'll
take
agree
them
with
to
that.
the Applebee's and then be like, "Well, I don't really think you were that pretty, but like there you were, and you were talking to 20 other guys. But here we're at Applebee's now. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, you can say
No.
if you were prettier, you would get dessert, but no.
So no.
don't say that.
Wow.
No.
That's how you get blocked at the dinner table.
Well, no. You
That's
should-
how you get
you
blocked
do
at the
it-
That's how
dinner table.
You get walked out on.
I'm taking
Right.
notes.
When you're doing it, though, remember that as a guy, you lie to date. Women fuck to date. You're lying to get that Friday night date because you were in competition with 20 people. If you don't lie,
Wait,
you're not
I
gonna get
don't.
Get the
I
date.
don't
Chase,
tread with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
Oh.
I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
I don't. I
No,
don't.
not
I
at
do
all.
not date to fuck. I fuck and we're not dating. Y'all know this.
To date. Got it. Fuck to date.
Don't take notes. Don't listen to him.
Yes, don't listen to the only guy out there dating. Yes, right.
I wrote that
Yes.
down. Fuck to date. Got it.
Yes. Women fuck to date, men lie to date. Yes.
Don't listen to the guy that's been
Don't
divorced,
don't
what is
do it.
3 times, 4 times.
Because the guy that does what? I missed it.
I said, don't listen to the guy that's been divorced, what, 3, 4 times?
2. Thank
Well,
you
it was
very
them.
much.
It wasn't him.
They complained about
I'm sorry.
Applebee's.
That
I
was
dropped
good,
them
Lila.
too.
That was good.
Yes. And you know what I could say is, if I was going to be me, I could say, and how many times have you been married?
Ooh.
Spicy.
At least I had a buyer. At least I had a buyer.
0.
Additional-
Or
Snap.
listen, I am not selling to the lowest bidder here. I am not selling to the lowest bidder.
No, most women just
put
give it
money-
away. You're not selling at all. You're just giving it out for free.
Look, what did she say?
Pretty good.
She's not listening to an Applebee's kind of guy.
Okay, so on that
So
topic,
no to that,
Yeah, let's hear it.
y'all mentioned something one time that I was shocked by. You all mentioned that apparently Red Lobster is not a nice establishment to take someone on a date.
Wow.
No.
I
Wow.
grew up thinking that is
No.
fine dining. And
Wow.
you take a girl to Red
No.
Lobster,
What,
you're
back in the
getting
90s?
laid later.
No, sir. That's a no,
No.
no, 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 no,
So Olive
no.
Garden's out of the question?
What?
Absolutely.
That's my
Absolutely
wife's
out of the
favorite
That shouldn't
restaurant.
even be an option.
Yo, I take my wife to Olive Garden, I'm getting some that night. I guarantee it. She's like, endless
What?
breadsticks? Baby, you getting endless breadsticks too.
What
Now,
town do you
here's the
live in, or
question
city
to
do you
ask,
live
though,
in?
Brandon. The
We live in
question that I would
Charleston,
get
South
pushed
Carolina.
back. Oh, okay.
What was that, Chase? I'm sorry.
So the question I would put back is, what do you get for your nice dinner? You're bringing dinner and date to the table. What are they bringing to the table?
She's
Oh
bringing her
Lord.
appetite. That's what she's bringing.
Here we
She's
go
bringing
with that.
appetite.
What do you bring? Here,
Mediocre
here we go.
conversation.
Hey, I want to know, because I want to know what if we're supposed to bring the time, money, and effort. What are you bringing?
She's
Why
bringing
does it have to
appetite.
be a tit for tat? Why does it have to?
Thank you.
Why?
Right.
Why does it have? Well, why should I put forth all the effort?
Well,
What are
you're the
you
one
doing to
that's
get
out
all
there.
that
Why?
effort?
You're the
Why
one
do you
out there
assume that she
looking
has
for
less to bring to the table?
right. You're one out there
Well, because
looking
you're
for
bringing the
ass.
expectation set on the I'm not looking for ass. I can
But
find ass
aren't
anywhere.
you looking for dick
The
too?
expectation you're bringing to the table is nice, is expensive restaurant, effort, opening the car door,
No.
conversation, drive it.
No.
Oh, yes.
No, no, no.
No.
We've had this conversation. We're not looking to go to the most expensive restaurant. Scarlett and I have clearly said it's more about the creativity of the date,
Yeah.
regardless
Yeah.
of
And we-
the dollar amount.
Yes.
Right.
And we talked about that too. So I disagree with y'all's take on that, but yes. We don't want to rehash that
regardless
show,
of that,
Brandon, later.
I think, okay, this is a generality, but I think I can speak for every woman that's here now. We would rather be single than settle. So you can say,
Absolutely.
what do you bring to the table all day long? But at the end of the day, it's the men that are willing to settle for less because they want the ass.
Yep.
Whereas the women are saying, fuck no, we'll be single, thank you.
And
No,
we can
if you
still
don't
get
bring-
some dick.
Woman who
If you're
lives
not,
at
well, anybody can get ass.
We can
Ass
get
is
dick
on
whenever we
every
want
bar
it.
stool in the world. And so can guys. Guys can get ass whenever they want it. However, if you're saying you don't have to bring anything, then it's the guys settling every time. So I'm going to
I
say,
would
why would I
agree
ever
that
settle?
guys settle more. I think guys do settle
Yes.
more, and that's why there's this phenomenon that you're speaking of, where the women that are, as you said, the 4s, the 2s, that are saying they deserve a 10, it's because they would rather be single than settle for less. That's just
No,
the
it's
fact
because
of the matter.
no, it's not. It's because they think they're Cinderella and Prince Charming's going to come take them to the ball. He's not. He's going to
I
fuck them in the
disagree.
back seat and leave them
disagree.
outside.
Because
Guy-
those 2s and those 4s will get on those apps and they will get just as inundated as the 10s and the 9s.
I
They
agree.
will.
Right.
Why?
For
Because
ass.
the 10s and the 9 guys will go have sex with the 2s and the 4s.
Yep.
They will.
Yep.
Whereas
So
the
do you
women,
Them, correct.
Do you
And I
think that
disagree.
They'll
Guys
fuck
cannot
you. They won't date you.
put
guys
as much
cannot
effort
get
in as
laid
men do?
anytime they want. Guys cannot get
Do
laid
what?
anytime. Guys cannot get
Yes,
laid
they
anytime
can.
they want. No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
No,
Yes,
they cannot.
can.
Vaginas
Yes,
rule
they
the
can.
world. No.
I agree.
Yes,
with
they
Willow
can.
here. We can literally go to a gas station and pump gas,
Yes.
and we will get hit on.
Yep.
And we could easily
Tell
take
you
that
what,
person
the
home.
next time we're all together, you say go, and we'll say who gets laid first, me or you.
First off, Scarlett knows I'm competitive. Bet I can get I don't know how many guys.
Well, I take the bet then. What do you want to bet?
I don't get hit
You-
on when I
you-
go to the gas station.
That's because you're a guy.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
And
this is
most
what I'm
women don't
saying.
get hit on when they go to
Obviously,
the
we're
gas station
talking.
either.
Yes, I
Obviously, we're
do.
talking in generalities here. We're talking in
Of
generalities.
course.
There are obviously guys that can get laid a lot, and
I
there's
get hit on
girls
at the
that
gas
can't.
station.
Yep. There's anomalies everywhere, and there's
Especially in the summertime.
right.
We got on
but-
those summer dresses. Those
Right.
summer dresses. Woo!
Well,
have
don't
to
let a
agree.
$20 sundress cost you 18 years of child support.
Yep.
Just
Correct.
throwing that out.
It sure the hell won't.
But it's
I
a
got
hell
my
lot
tooth
easier
tagged.
for a
Thank
woman to get laid than a man. I'm telling you.
I have to agree with you
It's
on
a
that
whole lot-
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
a whole
married
lot
12
easier for
years
the
and I still
men you
can't
want
get
to
laid.
date. The men that you
Yeah.
want to date, the 8, 9s, and 10s, it's easy for them to get laid. I can get laid in 15 minutes if I want to.
All women
It
want
just
the
is
same
easy.
20% of men.
You're pretty sure
Yes,
of
all
yourself,
women with
Chase.
the same. Yes, I am sure. You're correct. I am.
Mhm.
Yes,
And that's why we and that's why we love you, Chase.
and that's why I love you guys. But yes, women, the same 80% of women are fucking the same 10% of the guys. If you're one of those 10% of guys, ass is everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
It's everywhere. Yeah, it's everywhere. And when somebody says you can't get laid, yeah, you can. It's not hard. Now, if you're in the bottom 10% of guys, you're right. You can't get laid anywhere. And you're right. If you're in the bottom 2% of women, I agree. You can walk into a bar with a sign that says "fuck me." Some guy will do it. You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah, but women have to be selective. I mean, I'm not going to go to any douchebag and say, "Hey, you want to hook up?" I mean,
You've never hooked up with a douchebag, really?
No.
I mean, you've hooked up with a
I'm
douchebag. Sure you have.
I'm selective because I like intellect and someone that's got some fucking brains between their ears.
Okay, now you're talking about dating with a purpose.
More
Not
books.
just fucking.
No, I'm not talking about dating purpose. If I want to get fucked, I'm going to get fucked, but I'm going to have some sort of, I don't know, yeah,
You want
some
intellectual conversation beforehand.
Right before you get laid.
Yeah,
because that's an important part of getting laid.
Yeah.
Now hold on, that's not everybody, because if you guys have listened to the podcast, I'm not like that.
So
well, and I think
if
it's
you just want to get laid, why would you want intellectual conversation? You're never going to see them again.
Well, even if I see him again, I don't give a shit about your day. I don't give a shit about your life. Come over here, provide this service, and you got to go.
Well, but if they're dumber than shit, how are they going to find what they need to find when they're fucking me?
Because
I don't give a shit.
Knowing Kant and philosophy and biometrics of anything has nothing to do with being able to fuck.
Trust me, you've never been to Central Illinois,
one
have
doesn't
you?
coordinate the other.
You've never been to
Central Illinois?
So
you've never been there. No, because some of them
I just want to try and understand a little bit better, right? We're talking about women want intellectual conversation. Are we talking like quantum theory?
Some women.
Ooh, hold on. Quantum, you got me there.
I'm just trying to take notes here, and I want to get things correctly, when I scribble stuff down.
I can only speak for me here, but I agree with Willow on this, that I want some kind of substance, some kind of connection mentally and preferably even emotionally before going to bed with a guy. So if that's not there, to me, it's a very kind of just lacking situation. I don't enjoy it nearly as much as when the connection is made there mentally.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
so
that is a huge part of it.
And I'm the opposite. If I am the complete opposite, if we're just fucking, I don't give a shit about you or your day or what you got going on in life. Look, I just want some dick, and then that's the only time I'm going to hit you up is whenever I want some dick. But if we're dating, then yeah, I definitely need that mental connection, and that deep in conversation.
So,
but for the most part, I just want some dick.
Don't care, just there. That's the phrase. Don't care, just there for the fucking.
For Hazel, yes.
There.
Yes.
Okay. So
For Hazel,
let me understand. Let me understand here. Some women, it's more important for them to be smart, intellectual, caring, to show them all of these factors that they need emotionally before the physicality. And then other women, they just need him to have a 6-foot tongue and breathe through his ears.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They want the 3 6s.
Right.
6 foot tall, 6 foot tall, 6-figure income, and 6-inch dick.
6 inches? Oh, hell no.
No.
Not for Hazel.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Hazel won't even look at you.
3 6s together, it's like the devil sign, right? So it's like when
yes.
the devil.
They do.
I don't know about that, but
So
you
devil. Yeah, gotcha.
You got me at the 6 inches.
If you flip that 6 upside down, then you have Hazel's minimum requirements.
There you go. Said if it ain't 9 inches, you ain't getting on this ride, baby.
There you go.
That's right.
Now,
The moral
I, on
of
the
this
other hand,
The
would
moral
much
of this
prefer the
story
6 inch.
is that women are people and we all have different wants.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So look, I'm gonna address Lindsay Coleman if you guys don't mind. She commented and she said, if you're just trying to get laid, then why do I need to know about your date? That's exactly how I am. Like, listen, dude, I don't give a shit about your day, what's going on in your life. Like, did you come to fuck or what? That's it.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's not me
you
at
know,
all.
there has been
But
times
that's
where
but
I'm
that's
just
if
like,
somebody's intentionally trying to go get laid. Yeah, if you're intentionally trying to go get laid, but there's times where I was out that I wasn't intentionally trying to get laid, and we stuck. There was a conversation with someone that I got with, and there was a connection there, like Scarlett was talking about. I think it depends on what type of path you're on. If you definitely want to go out and get laid, then you're on that path. Yeah, I'm going to get laid. Yeah, I don't care about your day. But if you're striking up a conversation and you've got a connection with someone, then there's a connection there. I think it just kind of depends on what your motives are in that particular moment. I mean, I don't think that it's
Yeah,
stand by
I
all the
agree.
time. It's not
I-
cookie
I-
cutter all the time.
No, and
Well,
that's
no, but
why
we just we
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry about that.
communication and honesty are
with
really
someone
key.
and we've had a great connection or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm like, damn,
communication and
this
honesty are
guy's
really key here. Like, what? I'm sorry, Hazel.
no. I was just agreeing. Conversation is great. Until you get him home and he has a 6-inch dick. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, fuck the conversation.
You got to go home.
Well, you're also
Right.
I mean,
on the
y'all are
date,
also talking about two completely different things. One of you's talking about dating and actually dating with a purpose. The other is talking about getting dick. We all agree that
Yeah.
if you're dating with a purpose,
Yeah.
then intellect connection's important. That's not what
Absolutely.
you said. If I'm just getting dick, then what they say is important. Why? Why would I give a shit what you say if all I'm looking to do is to get laid? No, if I'm looking
Yeah.
to date someone more than for the next hour and a half, then of course a connection's important. But what I
Yes.
always find interesting is the same women who usually tell me how intellect's important and how drive's important, about 90% of them are with the 6'2" fit douchebag, and then wonder why the 6'2" douchebag fucks them and leaves them. It's like, well, that's exactly what you got into. That's
You
what
gotta
you ordered
go.
off the menu.
Yeah, but you've never
Yes.
You got it.
you've
Now
never
you're
picked
pissed.
you've never picked up somebody at the bar though, Chase, and like within 3 minutes you walked out. I mean, you kind of had to talk to him first a little bit, right? Or you didn't?
Well, correct you. You always talk to him first, but you talk to him about, again, when I start to talk to somebody at a bar, I'm not sure you talk about the most intellectual thing.
Well,
I don't
no,
walk up
but
and
I
say,
mean,
if I
you
walk up
kind
now
of
and
got
say,
to.
what's the last book you read?
Well,
mean,
no,
they're
but
doing
you
all.
kind of got to know. I mean, at least that they've got. Well, first of all, that they're not a serial killer. You kind of got to get that ruled out a little bit. That
Yeah,
they're
but
not.
they're not gonna tell you that anyway.
Well, no, but you kind of get. You can kind of get the spidey senses if they're not quite right. But I mean, you kind of got to get to know them a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. Just kind of just
And I will
not
tell
like,
you
oh,
that
well,
I've had
what's your goals in life and what's your
I've had
401k
girls I've had
portfolio?
girls within 5 minutes offer to go home with me and didn't know who I was, what my name was, where. Yeah, it happens.
Well,
And-
they're stupid
yeah, that's
bitches. They're stupid. That's how
They're
women
what?
get killed. They're stupid. That's how women get killed and cut up in the river.
Well,
mean, kudos
again,
to
that's a
you.
little drastic, but
because I've never
That's the woman
had
that
that.
was threatening to cut people.
you've never had that happen before?
No, ain't nobody ever come up to me and was like, "Hey, let's go." And I'll be like, "Dang, what? Whew."
Oh, you're
Never had
just sitting there talking and yes. So the thing that I always find interesting about this is the conversation is completely different when you're talking about dating with a purpose, dating for somebody for the future, and just dating for somebody for right now. And what I find interesting in my talks, this is the relationship thing, women will often pick Mr. Right Now and try to make him Mr. Future. Those are two
Yes.
different creatures,
Yeah.
man.
Preach.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
I
they
agree.
do try to change them. I agree. They do try to change them. Yeah.
See, I'm looking for long term, but maybe I'm just not that interesting. Maybe that's my problem.
Well, first
Well,
off,
if
I
you're
would
looking
say
for
it's your little
long-term,
pickup line. Is not that great, sir. I would
Yeah, stop with that
definitely
pickup line,
suggest
dude.
you
Stop.
change that.
Just stop.
Okay,
Oh, that's not
so like I'm not trying to
nice.
use it as a pickup line. You know, I'm a humorous person, and I thought it was funny, so I figured if you can jive with that, like that's the only time I ever
Mm.
use it like that. But what
But
should I
women
be
like
using
funny
as a first
guys.
message?
if I was going to send a first message, I would look
I
at
mean-
their profile. I would find something on their profile that I found
Yes.
interesting or eclectic or unique. I would say, hey, saw this on your profile, thought it'd be really interesting to get to know you. Here's my number if you just want to get off this and chat. And I would probably give them my phone number in 2 to 3 messages because I don't want to go back and forth. I want to gauge their interest. If they're not going to give me their number, they're not that fucking interested in the first place. So let's just cut to the chase. So I'm going to
Yeah.
do 2 or 3 little back and forth on the app, give them my number. They're either going to text me or they're not. And once they text me, I'm going to pick up the phone. Don't text. Don't be a pussy. Pick up the phone and call them, and then give them your fucking funny line because you can save it after that.
No.
If you,
I don't
if a
know. I
woman
think
hangs
every
up with you
female's
'cause you're being
different.
funny, if a woman hangs up with you because you're being funny, you don't want to go out with her anyway.
Right, of course not, because humor is my entire life.
Yeah, you don't want to go out there anyway. Correct.
Yeah,
you don't
no.
want to. If she
Okay,
if she blocks you for that joke, then save your time. Don't go out with her in the first place.
Right, that's what I figured. You know?
Do not call me.
No.
Right.
Okay, phone.
You want
No, because phone calls give me extreme anxiety. Text me, do not call me unless I've given you permission to call me. If you just cold call me, I will not answer. And
Oh
you've
my
lost your
gosh.
chance.
Oh my
Right,
gosh.
but my question would be, who would
No.
possibly date you then?
No.
You're on a dating
Guys my
app
age.
for people to call. Well, I'm older than you. I mean, I am your age.
No.
And
No,
I
yes,
absolutely
exactly.
call you if you-
Exactly. No.
I have something for you.
That's a
Landon.
generational gap
Ah.
here.
It is
Yes,
a
I'm ready.
generational gap.
I have a piece of
You're
paper,
taking
pencil,
notes.
We're taking them.
Okay, you're taking notes.
Taking them. I got stuff written down.
If you're looking for dating with a purpose, a long-term relationship with a woman of quality, here you go. 3 bullets. Polarity, mystery, and scarcity. These are the things that you should strive to have as a man. As much as we would hate to admit it as women, this is what we're attracted to.
So
We are most motivated as women, and I'm speaking in general.
Right.
In general, we as women are motivated by security. I have a hypothesis that everything that we desire links to security somewhere, either emotional security, physical security, financial security, some kind of security. So if you could think about the guys that physically are on the top of the food chain. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the
Financial
physical
security.
attribute that women
top
desire in men?
in terms of age, money, and size. Yes.
No.
Money and
Physical only.
Oh,
What would you say
bald head.
is the top thing that women look for physically?
Height.
6 feet.
Yes, tall. Why?
Height.
How is that linked to security?
Because they could see over bushes.
And this is why you're single.
The guys
That is
are
why you're
big
single.
and tall. Now, they might, in reality, run screaming at the sight of a spider, right? It doesn't necessarily translate to security, practically speaking, but that's what we translate, right? When we see a big, tall guy, it translates to us security, right?
Yeah,
Here's a guy
I agree.
who looks like he could scare away anything, right?
Yep.
That's
Yes,
attractive
I agree.
to us.
Yep.
Then let's
So
look
look
at
scary.
the money aspect. Why do women go after the guys with money? Why? What
They
does money
hoes.
mean? It means security.
Security. Yeah.
Exactly. So all these things link to security. But the big thing, which I talk about on that episode called Nice Guys, why nice guys finish last. This whole phenomenon that people talk about, well, the nice guys finish last and the girls just want the assholes. It's not the fact that they're assholes. It's the fact that they're not knocked off their course. It's the fact that they don't give a fuck what we think or say or do. They're going to go about their course no matter what we're doing. And that speaks security. it
Yes.
makes us extremely scared to know that we are driving the ship. The
Absolutely.
over-accommodating guys, those quote-unquote nice guys, they're overly accommodating, and it scares the shit out of us because we know at the end of the day we are batshit crazy. We have those moments where we're gonna drive the ship off a cliff, and if you're a nice accommodating guy that's just there to appease us, you're gonna go down the fucking cliff with us, and that is
Right.
scary as fuck.
I agree. You speak it, Scarlett. 1,000%.
But I also
1,000%.
think the women put up with douchebags and their behaviors a lot more than they should, and don't give nice guys enough credit or chances. I think we.
Well,
I think it's because of what I just
it's-
explained.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree with Scarlett. It is.
Exactly.
It is. Why would we give the nice guy a chance whenever we can see right off the bat that he can easily be knocked off of his course? Why would we give him a chance?
There's also a big difference in giving a nice guy a chance and ignoring a circus tent full of red flags.
Exactly.
Those are two different things.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you've heard me say this before. Guys care about women's past. Women care about a guy's future. When I'm driving my ship, you get on my boat and I'm the captain. You want to make sure I'm not going to run into an iceberg. I want to make sure you haven't sunk the last 5 fucking ships you've been on. I mean, that's just the way that works.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I get that. I mean, I get that. If you go on a date, well, you go up to a date and you say, hey, I'll pick you up at 7:30. We're going to go to this restaurant and do this. They like that. They don't, where do you want to go? That nobody likes that shit.
Yes.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah, they want a guy to
be
be assertive.
authoritative.
Yeah.
Right, be
Plan the
authoritative,
fucking
be
date.
assertive.
Yeah.
Right, know your shit. But then in the same thing, you know, as I just said, guys care about your past, and that's a whole different phenomena that we'll get into. But I mean, that what Scarlett said, I absolutely agree with. That I think
So
a lot of nice guys that they think nice is passivity. It's not.
Let me throw out a rebuttal to what Scarlett said. If you want us to drive the ship, why the fuck do you criticize every detail that we do? Why does it matter where I park the car? Why does it matter if I've done this by this time? I told you it was going to get done. It's going to get done. Why is there constant questioning and criticism? If you want me to lead, if you want me to do it, let me fucking do it. I tell my wife all the time. I said, let me fuck this chicken, okay? Okay?
All right.
Continue.
I'm fucking the dog. You
So
just
I
hold
have
me.
a book. I have a book recommendation for you, Brandon. It's called The Way of the Superior Man. He has an entire chapter in there about testing from women, and he says in that book, never expect it to end. Just when you think you've gotten through the test, here comes another one. It's never going to end. And he talks about how women cannot fully love if they haven't fully felt the masculinity of a man, which comes from the testing of a woman. So go read it. It's a powerful book.
And it's just the entire differences between the genders. It's just the way women are and think and operate and the way men operate. I think it's just total polar opposites, and it's just the way it is.
So what's the difference between a gentleman and a nice guy?
Ooh, good question.
A gentleman will hold your door.
Motivation.
Polite.
Motivation.
Ooh,
A nice
motivation.
guy-
I like that.
Motivation could be, well, a nice guy does things to try to get liked. A gentleman does it because that's what he is. If you're doing it because you think it's the thing to do, you're not a gentleman.
Right.
Well, I can be a nice guy I can be a gentleman with no motivation at all.
True.
Yeah.
That's just who you are.
So going back to my analogy of not being knocked off your course, the gentleman can do those things because it's part of his nature and his value system, whereas the nice guy is compromising himself in order to appease and gain the acceptance and the approval.
Right.
Gotcha.
And I think there's very few gentlemen. I think there's a lot of nice guys, but I don't think there's a lot of gentlemen anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, chivalry's out of the window anymore. It's sad.
It's because for the most part, it's not valued.
I have literally held the door open for a woman that I'm not interested in just because I was raised in the South and that's what you do is you hold the door open, and they have yelled at me. and
Oh, I
shut the
believe
door in
it.
my face because
I believe it.
they're a woman and they can do it. Now, I
Right.
wasn't meaning it any type of way. I was just raised, you open a door for a lady. There's a thing that, like when, for example, I have a daughter, okay? And I make sure that regardless of where we're going, that she's always away from the street. And I'm raising her that way to know that a man is supposed to keep the woman away from the cars and away from,
Mm-hmm.
the splashing of, those things are important to me. And something as simple as I don't like
Love
for
that.
us to split anything. Because to me, if I let, a pole in the middle of the Walmart parking lot come in between, me and my wife, that's symbolic of me letting things come between us. And I don't even like that to happen. I keep her by my side and I keep her away from, any dangers that
Mm-hmm.
may be coming my way.
Mm-hmm.
But it baffles me the amount of women that are out there that when you do those nice things for them, they are just nasty about
Well,
it.
and
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would speculate that oftentimes in those cases it's probably coming from a wound, right? They probably were in some way abused by a man in their past. So it probably is something that triggered something to where and I've seen this in my own life in my own friend group, right? That the women that are the most feminine feminist, the ones that are the most independent and I can do it, I don't need a man, are the most hurt by men. It seems to be a very direct correlation there. And I know a lot of guys talk about, we can't do anything. If we say anything, we end up in HR. There is a history there. There are a lot of women that have been abused. There are a lot of women who have been put down, who have had comments said to them, who have been pushed aside in their career. Like, this does happen. That is the reality, whether a guy wants to see that or not. So there is just what feels like sometimes an uphill battle just out of the gate of trying to prove that we are capable, that we can do these things. But in the I guess the double-edged sword to that is that we're losing some of what you've talked about, right? The ability to be
Yep.
feminine and receive from a man. And
Yep.
that's the sad part of that, is that we're losing the good aspects of that.
Yeah. Chivalry's
Mhm.
And the
gone.
Scarlet, you've heard me say this too before, though. I think that's the wrong question. It's not can you do it, it's should you do it. I know you can open your own door, but should you have
exactly.
to? It has
Exactly.
nothing
Right.
to can you, it should you. You can pay half the check, but should you? I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's where I think that it gets lost, and we're asking the wrong questions. It's not can you do it; it's should you do it.
Now,
I
see,
mean,
I've
and
had
that's if I open the
stop talking to me because she told me I was too polite.
then hey,
You're a
what,
nice
brother?
guy.
You know what, brother? Good for you. Run away from them.
I mean,
You know
am I
the
a
old.
nice guy or am I just being a gentleman?
Well, you know what my grandfather told me. You know what the door test was when he was around. When you lock both your doors, you put her in one side and you walk around the other side. If she doesn't reach over and pull the lock up, don't go out on the
Yeah.
date.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
Yeah.
there's some things I will tell you. One of the best first dates I ever went on, and I married her. We went to a bar and we sat down, and right as we sat down, she said, "Oh, let's change sides." And I said, "Well, why are we changing sides?" Sat down. She goes, "Well, that way you can see the TV because football was on."
Oh,
Okay, I mean,
Man,
that's good stuff, right? I
it
remember
is.
that. I mean, that's somebody thinking about somebody other than themselves.
You know,
And what I hear all the time is, "I can, I can, I can." Well, you know what? You can do a lot of shit. Doesn't mean you should.
exactly.
Yeah.
Slightly
But
off
at the
topic.
same time, going back to what I said earlier, the 3 bullet points of attracting women: polarity, mystery, and scarcity. Polarity is a big part of that. And probably what she was talking about and probably didn't know how to articulate to you is that we need some element of that conflict in the relationship. We need you to disagree with us once in a while. We need to see that you are fully in yourself a masculine man with values and convictions and passions that are completely exclusive from us. And if we see that you're always agreeing with us, there's no
Yeah,
polarity there, and that's scary.
it is. I agree
Right.
with that.
I mean, if I disagree with something, I definitely voice my opinion on it. But I mean,
What I'm
if
hearing is women want a man who has everything going right in their life and knows what they want, so they can come in and screw it up.
That is not what
Or
I said.
if you
I was
if you
gonna
wanted to
say-
be a little more, if you want to be a little more controversial, you could say a man who's worked really hard to get there, so she can come along for the ride without earning it. That's what you could say too.
Oh.
I am a very successful woman, and I do not need a man at all.
that's
Yeah,
what they
me
always
I
say.
am perfectly
Well,
capable.
But
Yeah.
no, we're not talking
Perfectly
about what you need.
capable.
'Cause
I'm
But-
no man
I'm the
needs a woman.
breadwinner in my home, so
No man
I
yeah.
don't
needs a woman
I
either.
don't need a guy who
Yeah.
Nobody
has
needs
money.
a female either. Nobody needs it. We're not talking about what you need.
I
We're talking about what you want.
understand,
Female
but
leader.
there is an element there of I need a guy who is on his course, who is successful, driven, ambitious, not because I need his money, but because I
Right.
want to see all those things I just described. I want to see that. And that's what brings the optimal attraction from me to all those things you were talking about. Like, oh, let me move so you have a good view of the TV. That
It's-
comes out of me when I'm feeling the optimal attraction to a guy.
But it's
I
a
agree.
partner. That's a
Well, correct.
partnership. It's being a partner. It's not a one-man band. You know, when you start feeling like you're doing everything, it brings up animosity. If you feel like you're always giving and not getting anything back, there's a lot of animosity that gets brought up. And
Mhm.
and
Yet
I've been
when
there.
I ask what you bring to the table, yet when I ask what you bring to the table, I got pushback. If it's a partnership, what are you bringing to the partnership?
Right, and a lot of the
Because I
time,
said that and I got pushback.
yeah, most of the guys are saying exactly what you were saying, and are the ones that aren't getting anything in return. That's
Correct.
So
Most
why
of the
are you
guys
guys-
saying, I do this. I bring the money, I bring the effort, I bring the chivalry, I open the door, I do this, and you show up. What are you bringing to this partnership?
But I'm talking about a relationship that's already been
too.
established. I'm not talking about a
Yeah.
date.
I am
Talking
too.
about a relationship
I am
that's
too.
already been
What is
established.
somebody bringing to that relationship? If it's a partnership, what is somebody bringing to it? Because I have found most women say, I'm bringing me. Well, I can promise you, if
Well,
I
then
went out with
that's-
a date and she said,
You
what
don't
am I
corner
bringing?
the
I
market
said,
on
look at
pussy.
me.
Well,
You do not corner, no, every female has one. That's
then you're finding the wrong women,
women.
because there's women out there
No,
that
that's-
would not say that.
But that's most
Well,
women.
we're talking about in general. Most women.
No,
will.
you can't
Most
say
women
it's
will
all
say-
women. That's bullshit.
most.
You
I didn't
can't
say
say
it's
it's
all
all
women.
women.
It's
I
in
said it
a
was all women.
generalization. It's not the exception
Yeah.
of the rule. That's what we're referring to as the generalization, not the exception.
But I
Yes,
think
the
in a
generalization is
relationship,
women bring themselves.
no, but I think in a relationship, if you bring 100% of everything that you have, mentally, physically, financially,
Yeah.
everything else, and I bring 100% of everything that I have within
Yeah.
me, mentally, then it's not what it's given. I'm giving you everything that I have, just as much as you're giving everything that
Yeah.
you have. Like I said, I don't think
that's
it's
not
a tit
true.
for tat.
If we go in to buy a house and I put in $1 million and you have $3, well, that's not a partnership.
But hold
It
on,
may
hold
be the
on.
only $3
Just because
you
she,
have.
but wait, just because she doesn't have that same kind of money, that doesn't mean she's not there for you emotionally. That doesn't
No,
mean
but
that
then
she's
you-
not there for you physically
But that's what
and
he's asking.
makes a safe space for
And
you.
that's
She
what
could be
that's what I'm
that
asking.
person that makes
I'm
you
asking,
comfortable
what are you bringing to the
verbally.
table?
That's what he's asking.
Again, I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. I keep asking that, and nobody keeps answering. You keep telling me I'm a partner. Well,
Yes.
what are you bringing to the partnership? Are you bringing emotional stability, emotional security? So you have my back all the time. Are you going to be there for me? I get sex whenever I want it. What are you bringing to the table? Because there's
I just
answers
wanna
to that
say-
question.
Best podcast we've ever done so far. I'm just throwing this out there.
Landon is enjoying himself.
Well, you've got to be
He had a whole notebook
assertive.
full.
Chase, you got to be assertive. Tell me what the fuck you want. Tell me what
Well,
the
I
fuck
will.
you want. Do
I'll
you
absolutely
want
tell
emotional
you.
stability? Do you want
tell me what you want and I'll give it to you.
You've heard me.
But you
You've
can't
heard me.
just say.
You've heard me
Well,
say
You
this.
can't
hold
just.
on, though.
You
Mm,
just can't. You
Like,
just
we
can't
we
say.
can't.
Well, what are you bringing to the table? You're bringing your $3. No,
You
tell me
can't.
no,
what
I
the
Can't
fuck
can't
you
say
ask
tell
want.
me what you want, because when
I
we
don't
tell you
I
what
don't
we
know
want,
if
we
I
do
agree,
it.
Will.
Okay, so
I'm trying. I would say what I want, except what I'm asking is if this is a partnership, I can tell you what I bring. But if I ask you what you're bringing, simply platitudes aren't a thing. It can be emotional security. It can be
Hmm.
sex. It can be emotional support. It can be all those things.
Yeah,
But I have to have an
I'm not
answer.
sure. I'm not sure if I agree with Willow there. For the simple fact is if you ask someone, what are you looking for, and their response is, well, tell me, like, this is what I'm looking for. Anybody to me can say, yeah, I can give you all of those things, but in reality, they can't.
Correct. In
So
reality, that's not.
for me personally, and we've discussed this before, I'm not going to answer that question. Allow me to show you who I am and what I can offer you, with me being everything that I am right now in my life. And you can make that decision if I am of value to where you are in your life or not,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah, I
Right,
agree
but
with
that means you're
that.
bringing something to the table. Correct. And I'm not.
Yeah, but you
It's not
can't.
a
You
money
can't.
thing.
But you can't go into that then with expectations, Chase, of saying, well, then what are you bringing to the table right now? You're going to have to wait and see what we can bring to the table. You can't have
I
that.
I agree.
I
I
can if
feel like
you're
it's an
bringing
aggressive
expectations
question.
in.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
can. I can if you're bringing expectations in. Then I can ask what the expectations are for you. I've heard a guy needs to do that. He needs to be assertive. A guy needs to make decisions. A guy needs to be creative on the date. I mean, I've heard a lot of what the guy needs to do.
yes,
I've heard zero from y'all on what you need to do.
yes. Okay,
Yes.
so let me stop and rephrase the question, because I think it's getting lost in translation. I think the way that Chase is trying to present this argument is that if, as a man, he is giving the expectation that you want as a woman, if he is meeting those standards financially, emotionally, whatever it is that you specifically want as a woman, well, you as a woman, what are the things that you're willing to give back for him meeting that criteria that you're looking for? So can you
Correct.
answer that without it
I
sounding mean, but just like, what can you
What do
give
you
as a
want?
woman? That's
What
also
do you
valid.
want?
That is
What do you
valid.
want?
But you're telling us what you want in a man. In a woman, we're asking, what
Yeah, so
can you
tell us
provide
what you
to
want
us?
in a woman.
Okay.
see,
Okay.
And
and
then
that's
what
So you're
Willow.
asking us to provide all the answers. We
So
told you what
from
we
a
want
man,
in a boy. You
So
tell us what you
I
want in
will
a girl.
tell you. Sure.
Thank you,
I
Lila.
want
That's what I
emotional.
was trying to get at. Yeah.
I want emotional security. I want you to be sexually adventurous.
Okay.
I want you to be confident in yourself. I want you to be there for me. I want to know you have my back no matter what. I want to know that you're there for me. Those are the things that I want. I want emotional stability and security. And I think
Okay,
that's what most
great.
men want.
That's generalization for sure.
okay.
That's
So
right.
as a man, so my perspective, you said, what do I want from a woman? My wife asked me this question the other day. She
please.
looked me in the eye and she said, "What is your favorite thing about me?" Okay? And I sat there for a minute and I really thought about it. And most men would immediately be like, "Oh, your smile, baby," or "Oh, the way you put it down," or whatever. No,
Said her
my
toes.
favorite thing about her
Toes.
is that she is supporting me in my endeavors
Yes.
of building the tavern and this company that I'm trying to build. She has been
Okay.
supporting me 100%, and that is what she's bringing to the table, and that is what I love, regardless of the arguments or whatever else that goes on in the background.
It's
12
give and
years
take.
later, she is still here and she is
Yep.
still supporting me in whatever crazy avenue I'm choosing to do. And
Yep.
that is what she brings to the table that I want as a man.
Well,
Yep.
I agree. And you know what? That's why I say, for me personally, anyone can tell you those things, right?
It's
But we
proving
all
it.
know it takes time to
Right.
prove that you are there
Yeah.
for someone emotionally, to support someone. That takes time to prove to a man that is who we are and that is what we bring to the table.
Yep.
It's not over. a few dates. We can't prove that over a few dates. That takes
Yeah.
time
Talk
to
is cheap.
build those things
But
and
you can
prove those.
absolutely ruin that over a few dates. You can absolutely blow that over a few dates. You can't prove it, but you
Sure.
can ruin it over a few days.
Sure,
Yep.
but then
You
you're
can
not
do
gonna.
that.
Yes.
Then it's not gonna amount to a relationship. Then it's all for naught, and you move on.
Right.
Right.
You know?
The thing that I've always said is this, is that the ideal partner, woman, whatever, the ideal partner for me, I will go fight any dragon for her.
Absolutely.
As long as when I come home, she says, I love you, baby, win or lose.
Thank you.
If she only says I love you, baby, when I win, and I think that's what happens most of the time.
It's
When you
definitely-
win, when you're on top, everybody loves you. When you
Yep.
lose, only the good ones love you.
Yep.
And that's what I would say the difference is.
No, I can agree with that.
Well, that's
Well, it's
kind of
been my
sad.
experience.
That's kind of sad because it sounds like you haven't met some good women. Because I believe there's good.
Yes.
Until the one that
I
I'm
mean,
married to, I have not.
I mean, I think there's good women out there that would boost you up and that would make you feel like you're number one, and that would make you feel like you are.
But that's where that supportive comes in.
Sure.
Her being supportive in general, whether or not he wins or loses, it doesn't matter. Baby, we got this. Fuck that dragon. Dragon was a damn loser anyway. Like,
right.
You know.
And that's all fun and easy to say until you're there.
Yes.
And that's all. When you say you haven't met good women, sure I have. I have dated and met them. It's also easy to say, yeah, if someone patted your ass, I'd go hit him in the face. Until you have to go hit him in the face.
Exactly.
And then there's very few people do that. I mean, and it's big talking's easy. And that's where I say, when somebody asks me a question, because I do this all the time, I give pushback, and you know this. And when I give pushback, I had somebody ask me, okay, I said, what's that one special thing you bring to the table? And so I had somebody ask me that. And I said, okay, I asked 3 girls I dated, and they said, no matter where we are, the position we're in, or the situation, I always felt like you were in control. I never felt like it was above. I never felt unsafe. So that safety and security. I'm not the best looking guy out there. I know that. Pretty charming, pretty charismatic. But that safety and security is a thing. If you're a female who's never had that, then yeah, I'm a pretty good draw. If you're a female that's been safe, secure your entire life, then you don't know what it is. And if you're a guy who's had to fight for everything you've always had by yourself, a female stand-up, or man, whatever side, I'm not saying only females, but for me, a guy, I'm got perspective. A female having your back, a female when you come home and go, God, man, I blew it today. Saying, no, I give this example all the time. I went broke, and I mean bad broke. And I was coming home from loading trucks at UPS so I could buy my kids Christmas presents. And I was living in a huge house, and I had all the trappings. And on the way back, my wife, I was feeling bad. She called me, and she goes, hey, are you wearing a UPS uniform? And I said, well, I got the shirt on. Why? She goes, hurry home. I've never fucked a UPS driver before.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
That is what it's all about.
I mean,
and
so
that's what it's about.
My rebuttal to this thing, you mentioned that you want a man who's always strong in his beliefs and always stays his course. And we say, as a man, we want a woman who's going to catch us when we fall. And women are always saying, oh, well, a man should be allowed to be vulnerable. Men are allowed to cry. That's fine. But the moment you cry in front of a woman, you show weakness. And they lose a little bit of faith in you being a man. So it's not true that men are allowed to be vulnerable, because every time you do it, she loses a little bit of faith in you.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Me too. I'm with
personally. I will be honest with you. In a relationship, it would bring me so much. What's the word I'm looking for?
Joy.
Gratitude.
Don't say that.
It would being that he feels so safe and secure that he is allowing me to see him in such vulnerable state. And it is up to me to step up and to make him feel comfortable and know that, baby, we got this.
But that's
I know the chips are down right now.
I say this with all love and respect in the world. That's not true.
Exactly.
If he came home
No,
crying saying,
no,
"How am I going to
no.
pay the rent
In my
tomorrow?" You
experience,
wouldn't go,
Landon,
"Oh."
Landon, tell them what happened. Tell them what happened to you when you cried.
what time? Like,
Well, after your mother
Not
I
passed
was
after
away.
sex,
I
before
was
sex.
told I've been told before that men don't cry. That I'm not a man if I'm sitting down crying, about something. And I can't remember
Well, that's
exactly what it
ridiculous.
was, but it was
That is
a
ridiculous.
very emotional time for me to actually be crying. I don't know the situation, but I remember it.
I
I'm
think
talking
there's a
about
So
big. I
I
think
think
there's a
where
big
there's
difference,
some
guys. And if I come home and my kids go to college, or my kid graduates, or it's an emotional thing, if I cry and I let my emotions show, then I think that's vulnerability you can show. If I
that's
come
different.
home and I say, "Scarlett, I don't know how we're going to pay the rent tomorrow. We might get evicted," and I start crying,
Yep.
no, nobody
Oh
finds
yeah.
that vulnerable. They find
Nope.
that weak and shitty.
Yep.
So
We don't. I don't know
there's
if
a
we find
difference.
it weak. We find it scary that we, just like Scarlett said earlier, we find it scary that you have lost control over the ship, and now we have to try to steer the ship.
Amen. Yeah.
So men
That
can't
is
No
be
matter
that is what we're
vulnerable.
that
saying.
weak or
that is
scary,
a different that's a
still
different issue from the emotions.
It's
It's
still
not the
vulnerable.
correct.
emotions that
We're
portray
human.
weakness.
Right.
We're human. We
It's
have
No,
not
the
the
emotion. That's
emotions.
what I said. The Scarlet. That's what I was
absolutely.
saying.
It's not the
An
emotions that are
emotional thing's fine.
portraying weakness. You can be completely in your emotions and still be not knocked off your course, still be authentically you, still be
Then that
driven
means
on
we're
a
not
path.
human. That is the
No,
leading
no, no, no,
cause
no,
of
no, no.
suicide in men. That is why.
Yes.
Because we will sit out in the car and we will cry because how the fuck am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to put food
Correct.
in my daughter's mouth? And then I have to come inside and still be that man, or else my woman's going to look at me like
Because
I'm a
because
dog.
that's a man's role, and I don't think
Exactly.
that my role is to provide security. And if I'm failing to do that, I'm failing as a man, and I
Exactly.
can't go and tell the people I'm supposed to be protecting that I'm failing at it. We don't get that
Because
option.
then they'll
That's
leave me
just
too.
correct. They'll go find somebody who is providing safety and security.
Exactly.
Correct. Yes.
That is
So
why
anybody
men
who
commit
says that
suicide
that's
over women more times than
yes.
not.
Yes.
Have you heard of the tree in
It's
the
not.
front yard where we leave
I
our
can't argue
problems?
with that.
Because when a man gets out of his car, that tree in the front yard, we'll touch it and we'll leave our problems right there, so we don't bring it in the house and put our burden on our family. That's my
I mean,
burden tree.
that's right. That's what you're
Okay,
supposed
so
to do
do
as a
you
man.
have good, strong men in your life that you could have those conversations with?
Fuck no. That's the bigger problem. Fuck no.
I
That's
think
another
that
problem.
is the biggest. I really think that is the biggest issue. Is that
Yep.
we as women have no problem having our tribe, and we can go
Yep.
and pour our hearts out and cry together, and men don't do that.
No,
Right.
they don't have a
no
support
one.
system. Yep.
In all
Yep.
honesty,
Right.
me and Brandon have each other.
That's it. That's all we got. That's all
That's
we've
been
ever
our
Well, I
had.
whole
think a lot of
Us.
that has to do. Like, I'm a father and I have my two sons. I'm supposed to be that for them, and I would
Right.
hope they are that for each other. But as my age, I'm a little older than y'all. No, there's no one that I can go to and say, "Oh, woe is me. Guess what's going on?" You just have to suck it up and go.
Yeah.
Because me going to somebody saying, "Oh my God, woe is me. How am I going to pay the rent?" doesn't get the rent paid.
Doesn't fix anything.
just
doesn't
doesn't.
do anything.
It
But I
doesn't
still
fix a
have that
thing.
emotional burden.
Right, but if you have
Correct.
someone to go to, if you
But we
have
don't.
someone to go to, well, you
But we
need to
don't.
create relationships are important. So I would suggest that you create strong relationships with other men.
How do you
that
create those relationships when they leave you because they see it as weakness? That's the problem. We're in a perpetual cycle. You show that
Right,
weakness
no-
and those people leave
Right.
because you're not a man.
I don't know how men think, but for us as females, I could go to Scarlett right now and cry my heart out and say, "This is my problem." Bet money we will sit there and come up with solutions to my problems.
Well, sure,
So-
but most men
Okay.
will
I
tell
think you
that
guys
just
need
suck
to
it up.
support each other more than normally happens. And there
Yeah.
probably
I
are
agree with you
sects
on
of
that.
men all over the place that do, but by and large, the guys that I talk to do not have a support system,
Nope.
and you
Right.
need one.
A
Because
mentor,
Well, I would,
We're groomed
something.
to suffer alone.
Yes, we're
That's
groomed to
what
suffer
we
alone
do not put our burdens on anybody else. We have to figure it out as men.
because we're men. We need to figure it
I
out.
would also go
But that's
I would also
just
go
because
to,
you're
you know, why
groomed that
men.
way doesn't make it right or true.
Correct.
Right.
But it's
Well,
hard to change when every man's groomed that way.
Well,
There
the
are
other
men
thing
that
I
you
would say
can't
too,
even
if you
say.
go,
That's true, but
We're gonna let Chase talk.
I would also say if you do that, the thing, and one of the reasons that most men go find other women is because that is that safety security that you can go to them, and you usually find that other person in a moment of trauma, and so they already know your weakness and they accepted it. You don't have to tell them. They met you when you were broke. They met you at a downtime. They met you because that's the reason you opened up.
Yeah.
And now they know your weakness. They accepted it, so you're safe in showing it to them. And then your girlfriend or whoever wonders why you did it. Well, because I couldn't come to you. Now, that doesn't make it right or wrong. It
But it
just makes it a
happens.
thing. But it happens. And when you say men should support each other, I think when you say women should support each other too, yeah, that's fine. I tell you what, you get a group of 6 women together and you have the one that tells the other 5, one of them being single, my really rich husband is such a dick. We're having a horrible marriage. It's bad. We're not sleeping together. You wait until that one single one or the other one starts talking to him. See how quickly it takes before that happens. You're not going to tell. You're going to be very selective in what women you tell your secrets and your weaknesses to, because you don't want them to go do it. You don't want them to take advantage of it. Men are the same way. I don't
I
want
don't
to go
know.
to
You're
telling all the
speaking in
things.
generalities here because that definitely does not describe our group.
It
No, I'm
doesn't.
speaking in well, but no, but we're talking to a podcast. We're not talking about the 4 of
To a
you. We're talking in
generalization.
generalities.
Talking in
Yes.
general, not the exception.
Right. We're talking to an
Lila,
audience. Yes.
what were you gonna say, Lila?
Oh, I was just gonna say that is a problem that only men can fix for each other. Us women can't do anything to help you guys support each other. You know, it's gonna take
Yeah.
each of you guys individually stepping up and being the vulnerable one and being, hey man, I am here for you in this capacity. We really can't help you here. We don't know how you think. We know how you've been raised, but we can't change that for you.
Oh,
But a
I
man
think
doesn't
that,
Yeah.
want other men to do it. They want their
and
wife
this,
to do it.
So
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
wanna-
Yeah,
I
they
Chase,
don't
wanna
want to.
thank
They
mention-
don't
you.
want to go to other
Thank
men.
you.
I want to mention the book, The Way of the Superior Man, because he talks a lot about this. And there's actually a quote that I would like to read. He says, but if she is a good woman, a strong woman, she will not tolerate your childish need for a pat on the head, collecting bigger toys, and being the king of the mountain. A good woman will love the childlike part of you, but she will want your life to be guided by your deepest truths, not your untended childhood wounds. She wants to feel that at your core, you've grown beyond the need for kudos and $1,000,000 toys. She wants to feel your self-generated strength of truth. And that's what I keep trying to touch on. Even in your darkest hour, are you still holding true to who you are, your authentic self? Are you still holding true to your values? Are you still showing work ethic? All those things that make you a man, make you masculine, make us respect you.
So how
But
does
he
that
talks a lot in
change?
this
But
book in the
Scarlett, none
need
of
for
those
None of
things are
that.
not crying. None of those things are opening up. None of those,
Yes.
because the second you do all that, you're not
You're
not
not
doing
showing it.
exactly what that quote says. You're
Exactly.
doing the opposite of what that quote says.
So he talks about the need for guys to be there for each other.
But
You
we
guys
don't
have
want
to be
another
there for
guy to
each
be there
other.
for us.
Yeah, but
Well,
I want
that's
my
your
woman
that's
to be
that's a
there for us.
problem.
That's
That
the
is a problem.
Is you guys are not setting up the support system for yourself so that you don't have to cry in the car, that you're not
At the
committing
end of the
suicide.
day, it doesn't change the fact that if I'm crying to Landon at the end of the day, that doesn't help when I want to be crying to my wife.
So
Does that make
can I
sense?
ask a question? Can I ask a question to the women in the group? If
What's up,
Brandon and
Chase?
Landon and I, if Brandon, Landon and I are each other's support system, if Brandon, Landon and I are the breadwinners in our household, what the hell do we need a wife for?
Y'all are gonna fuck each
what the hell
other
do
or
you
what?
for?
Nope.
Because
That's
No,
the point.
for
That's the
$200,
point.
Yeah, you tell me.
just
What do you
like
need us
we
for?
are.
Okay. I mean,
I want my
What
wife
we
to
most
be my
seek
support
in a
system.
woman is admiration
what?
and respect. Women seek security, men seek admiration and respect. But how does that come? You get the utmost admiration and respect from a woman when we feel secure. Those
Okay.
are directly correlated.
And that's the
Right,
problem.
but you're not answering my question. If you're not giving me that emotional support, if we're getting it from each other, because you said we should find it in other men.
But that doesn't mean we're still not giving. No. We're talking about seeking counsel from other men. Not. We're still going to be there for you emotionally.
But that's
Well,
what
no,
we're
I don't
getting
need
at,
to
is
see.
that we're not getting
Right,
it
that's
emotionally. That you
right.
say that
Y'all
you'll
are
be
the
there for us
yes,
when we need you,
but
but
you're
we're
not.
not. So I can go and I can cry to Landon and say, hey, I don't know how the hell I'm going to feed my family this week. But if I go do that to my wife, now she feels unsafe. And it's a question of, ooh, do I still want to be with this man because he can't provide?
Good point.
So I actually had
Yes.
this exact conversation with one of my best friends. His name is Mel on the podcast. He came on for a couple of episodes, but he told me after reading The Way of the Superior Man, he read that book and he said it has changed his life and it has changed the way that he speaks to his fiance. And he told me one thing that he had changed about his conversations with her, that instead of showing indecisiveness whenever he's trying to make a decision in his life, he instead comes to her when the decision has been made and said, this is what we're going to do, versus coming to her in the indecisive phase. And he said it has completely transformed their relationship and the way that she interacts with him. Noticeable
And that's all
difference.
fun and games, as long as what his decisions are correct.
Yes.
If his decisions run the ship into an iceberg, she'll bail, man.
She'll jump ship quick.
I mean, she'll jump ship in a
It
heartbeat.
all goes back to security. The more secure your woman feels, the more admiration and respect. And what you're describing as support is actually admiration and respect. The more she feels secure, the more of that you will get.
And the
So
more you cry to
Directly
her, the
correlated.
less secure she feels.
So when the
Yes.
woman comes crying to us, we're supposed to, covet that, right? We're supposed to be there and, show the love and the hugs and, do
And
what
be
you
that
need to
rock and not
Right.
leave no matter what. But the women don't do
my
that for us.
understanding is from that parable was that women aren't supposed to do that for us.
Aren't supposed to do what?
Be that rock.
To be that rock.
I don't think that is the role of the woman. Do you really want your woman to be your rock?
Yes.
That is
Yes.
the role of
That's
the
what
man
I'm
in the
getting at.
relationship.
Yes. Yes.
That's why we
Every
chose
guy
When
you.
you say,
Yes.
what is
All
your
the women in
definition
the
of
world.
rock?
It's
When
the
you
emotional
say
support.
rock, what do you mean exactly?
That
We
I can go
always
to
have
her
to be
no matter
stone.
what
We have to be a
and
rock.
tell her what's going on. Yes. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead,
Sorry,
Brandon.
we always
So to
have to be
me,
that
rock
stone. We
means
always have to be that
security,
rock.
right?
Yes.
Rock is
So in the
unmovable.
one
Rock
moment
is secure.
when
Rock is
I get
unmovable,
home,
right?
and I
Right.
have been that rock all day, sometimes I need to sit down for a minute and not be stone. Because you can't be stone your whole life. You can't. So I want my woman to be that one place where I can come home and not be stone. I can still be stone for her, but when I get done with work and I have been stone all day long, there are times where I need to be water for a minute.
And
And
Scarlett,
if
you
she
keep
can't provide
saying,
that, that's not the woman I want.
and Scarlett, you
Definitely
keep
gonna
saying
check this book
security,
out, though.
security, security. But from a guy, that emotional support is security. That's
Yes.
what we want.
That's our
And
security.
you're missing that. That's our security. You've heard me say this.
But
What's worse, for a guy to cheat on a woman or for a woman to cheat on a guy? I, as a guy,
But what-
can cheat on you and still provide you financial security. You, as a woman, cannot cheat on me and provide me emotional security. And so if that's what we're
So
looking
what
for,
you're describing as emotional support, I would argue, is that admiration and respect, right? You're looking for that woman that thinks the best of you, that admires you, supports you, is your cheerleader. That's what you're looking for, right?
No.
But Scarlett, in order to admire, we have to do something admirable. If we're not, if you're losing money, if you're not making, if you're not paying bills, what is she respecting and admiring?
Exactly.
Nothing.
We're not looking for that. We're looking for comfort.
That's not what we're looking for. Correct.
We're just
You're
looking for someone to say it's going to be okay. We'll figure it out. We're not looking for the respect. We're not looking for you to
Yes.
be like, you got this, baby. I'm not even looking for that. I'm just looking for I know you're hurting right now, but we'll figure it out. That is what we want on the deepest level.
Or
And
even
we
not,
already
we'll
know
figure it
we're
out,
going to figure
baby.
it out.
We know we're
Right,
going to
we
figure
might
it out.
even get figured out.
We
Just
will.
say, hey, baby, you know what? I'm going to kiss you, hug you. I'm going to make your lunch tomorrow. You got this. Cool. Just, I don't want to look behind me to make sure you're still there.
Yes.
And that's what you're missing about the emotional support aspect of it. It's not the admiration.
Okay, but what you're describing there is really more of a mom-son relationship.
So then aren't women looking for a dad relationship? Because I mean, basically that's what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, being your supporter.
Yeah.
Being secure.
If you want a woman that respects you and admires you, she cannot perceive you to be like her son.
But
you're
and I'm not saying
to perceive you like her dad.
I'm not saying that you can't be emotional, but you do have to be unmovable. You do have to be that rock, that security.
Well, yeah,
you can be emotional, but you still have to be the rock.
And from my experience, you guys love it whenever we call y'all daddy.
No, not me. Actually, I had that happen one time, and I went ultra soft and put my pants on and left.
Yep.
I have a daughter,
do not like.
So it's just it doesn't do it for me.
Nope.
I will say that I get what you guys are saying about the emotional support and stuff, and I understand that. What I wouldn't want is you coming to me and wanting me to fix your problem for you.
Oh no!
If you just want me to hug you and kiss you and say you got this, we're good, I'll hold you all you want, I can do that all day. But please do not bring me your problem and say, what do I do?
Right.
Yeah, that's not what I'm asking for.
It's just to say, hey, I'm here for you. We already know we're going. We've already got cogs in the wheel spinning about how to fix it, but we're gonna fix it. That emotional support to say, hey, you know what, we got this.
But in that moment of panic and spiral, I just need you to be like, you're gonna figure this out. You got this. Because be like, you know what, you're damn right. I am gonna figure this out, and I do got this, and I always do.
Because Brandon and Landon, I'll tell you, as a man, my experience has been, if I tell a woman or my partner, whoever it is, hey, here's the problem I got, I don't hear, hey, baby, you got this. I hear, well, if you can't pay rent, how are you going to pay the car bill? How are we going to feed the kids? They add to it. It isn't, hey, let me help you. They add to the problem. They don't help you with the problem.
They are full of anxiety.
Then why would I ever go to her?
Exactly.
Why would I tell her? Why would I ever cry and open up to her?
Which is why you men need each other. Because that conversation
not what we want,
is not
though.
for her.
But that's not
what that's what you guys need.
But that's not what we want.
Well, we have each other.
We have each other, and we do that. But that's not what helps. That's not at the end of the day. I don't want Landon holding me, kissing my forehead.
I mean, if I look at you, I'd be there.
Just as a simple response. Just as a simple response, I could pick a guy that you need. You don't want him. You don't want the average guy. You don't want the guy making $60,000 a year that's 5'9" and has some college. None of y'all want that guy, but that's who you need. Hazel doesn't need a 10-inch dick.
But
that's
she
what
still wants it.
So you keep telling us, here's what you need. Here's what you need. But you keep telling us what you want. I'm simply pointing out that doesn't go both ways. And if you expect us to get what we
need is security. And what we need to give you the optimal support, love, admiration, and respect is security. That's what Scarlett, we need on a very fundamental level.
If I brought you a 300-pound, 5'6" guy who had security, you wouldn't want him. And you wouldn't give him the time of day. And you know that. And so that's the difference.
Disagree with you. You see women with ugly men all the time who speak security to them.
First off,
a phenomenon that's very prevalent, actually.
Let me say this.
The guys that you're like, how the heck did you get her?
Let me say this.
Her was because he spoke security to her. That's how ugly guys get supermodels.
I know Scarlett, and whenever it comes to Scarlett, looks do not matter.
Again, we're talking in generalities.
I have proven
that. Guys, we're talking in generalities here. We're not
No. You specifically pointed me out. You pointed me out and said, Scarlett, you wouldn't give him the time of day. And I have been with ugly men.
And she would.
Then you're in the 0.1% of women out there. So now we're talking about the 99.9%. Right. You're the exception to the rule. Now let's talk about the rule.
But even in the world at large, you see the phenomenon of ugly guys with super hot women and wonder how the hell did this guy get this woman?
No,
because he spoke security to her.
Yeah, you see rich guys with ugly with pretty women.
Yeah,
But
you
Why?
see the average Joe.
Why?
Because the average
because
Joe.
Because of-
financial security is important.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. That's her whole point. He's giving her security,
But that
regardless
guy
what he
making
looks like.
but that guy making millions of dollars that has that supermodel wife cannot go home and cry to her about how
Correct.
he lost
He
that business
can't.
meeting today.
Yes. And if he
And
went
he is
home to
more
her and
likely
said,
to
I
shoot
lost all
himself
my
at the end of the
money,
day.
he wouldn't have a supermodel wife anymore.
Exactly.
I can see what you
It's
guys
all
are saying.
conditional.
And I can see what you guys are saying, and I can definitely understand, and I understand what Scarlett is saying as well, and that's why I say for me personally, I think that those things to be available to someone to allow them to be vulnerable and for us to be supportive, it takes time. It takes time for us to know that, yeah, the chips may be down right now, but at the end of the day, and next year, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, you're always going to give me that support that we need. Therefore, I can give you that emotional stability that you need as well.
Yeah,
But
we're
Hazel,
looking
what
for the
happens
woman.
if there's
This
2
is the
years that
first
goes
time
by that he
I've
doesn't
ever
do
heard
that?
a woman say, "I understand what you're saying as a man."
Yep, Landon.
Yeah.
I'm with you, buddy. Hazel, I appreciate you for
Yeah, I
saying
never have
that.
either.
I think it depends on the individual as a man, because I know my husband, when he has things he's internalizing, he does things that aren't very healthy. He goes
Most
to
men do.
yeah, and then I'm like, okay, hun, like what's going on? And he will,
And that
You're a
probably
winner.
gives you anxiety.
and it does. You're exactly right. And I'm like, let you know, give it to me, like tell me, let me help you. And he doesn't want to put undue stress on me. So instead of him doing that, he will internalize it and then do something unhealthy,
Right.
Exactly.
But
you know.
I think that comes from what they were saying
Yeah.
is that they already know that you're going to be stressed about
Yes.
whatever issue.
Oop.
Yes, it
Yeah.
doesn't do any good for me to go and tell anybody that when all it's going to do is add more stress. It's more stress that I have to
Why
deal
would
with.
he
So
feel
why would I go tell my
comfortable?
wife anything? Right, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
Well,
I get that.
I think my husband, it's in my case, I think he just wants to alleviate any issues from me because of my
We
background. But
don't want you to deal with the stress, and we
Right.
don't want you to leave.
Right.
At the end of the
Right,
day, I
and-
want the woman that's going to stay even through the storm. And if I
Correct.
burden you with things I can't handle, I'm worried that you may leave. And that's
But
what
And
yet-
that's why the men end up crying in the cars before they walk into the house.
But yet
Yeah.
it's kind of
But
a
what
double.
you just described there, Brandon, is a beta male mindset.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
are
don't use
fearing
beta and alpha
rejection.
male. Don't use those terms. Don't give
are
me that
rej-
crap. I'm
You
a
are
beta
fearing the
male. I'm an alpha
rejection.
male. I'm a freaking toucan. I don't
Well,
care.
I
no,
can-
I'm who
hold
I am.
on.
I have emotions.
Playing devil's
But what
advocate
you're
here, I
describing
agree
there,
with Scarlett on this.
what you're describing there, Brandon, is that your behavior is being driven by the fear of rejection. And I guarantee you she knows this about you, whether consciously or subconsciously, and in the end loses respect for you because of it.
So you're
That
saying
is
that's for
not a
every
man.
man?
For bait?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Because what we've been talking about this whole time
anyone-
is every man. You're saying every man's a beta male, if that's the perspective.
No. It's that
saying
beta
this
male mentality is what she's saying. Is that you
I'm saying
fear
that whenever
of
when you let fear guide your actions, and especially fear of rejection or a
But
lack
you've
of
made it
acceptance
clear
by us,
that when a man shows you
know
that
that.
emotion, you will leave. You have made that clear. So it is a justified fear.
Correct.
Well, what happened to the vows of for better and for worse?
Exactly. That's what we're looking. That's literally all we're saying. We're
Yeah.
looking for that woman that won't leave.
Well,
Okay.
well,
They
I'm
do
gonna be
eventually
honest
break
with you
down.
here.
but I
Like,
took an
if-
oath and a vow, and that's where I'm staying.
Well, I can understand that,
Well,
right?
This is
But
where
but also,
paradigm of the
Right.
nice guys finish last. We're chasing the guys that don't need us.
Right.
That's who we're chasing. That
Yeah.
don't need us.
So you're
That are
chasing
not
the
knocking
guys.
off their course. They're
You're
on their
chasing the
mission,
guys who
who are
don't
going to accomplish
want
what
you.
they need, and they don't need our validation. They don't need our acceptance.
You're
That's
chasing the
what we
guys that don't want
respect.
you. You're chasing
You're
a
Those
chasing
are
the guys who
those-
don't want you. Correct. They don't want you. Because if they
No,
wanted you, they
we're
would want that
chasing the
validation.
men that don't need us.
Right.
There's a
Scarlett,
difference
I'm
between
about
want
as
and need.
Scarlett, I'm about as type A as you can get, and I'm telling you that you're chasing the guys that don't want you. If they wanted you, they would open up to you, and they would do that, because behind every guy that's strong and alpha, there is some woman somewhere that he opens up to. I
Behind
promise
every
you.
great man
there
is a
is.
great woman.
Correct. And if it's not you he's opening up to, it's someone. And I'm just telling you, that's, and if you call me a beta man, that's just ridiculous.
You're
That's what I'm
getting
saying.
things confused here. Okay, well, put a pin in that for a second. But opening up is a different issue than letting fear guide your actions. Those are two separate things. You can be
But hold on,
emotional and vulnerable and not let fear guide your actions.
But what Brandon said, Scarlett, is the fear. He's not talking about the fear of the problem. He's talking about the fear of opening up and you leaving.
Exactly.
That's the fear.
Which you have said is a
that's not a
justified fear.
problem.
And the
you've
fact
said
that
if you
that
open up and show
guides your
fear,
actions, I guarantee you that's not the only instance where the fear of her acceptance or lack of acceptance, the fear of her rejection guides your behavior. That is not the only instance where that occurs. And I guarantee you, whether consciously or subconsciously, she knows it and she has lost respect. So what you described earlier of her bitching about the way you park the car, that is the result of her understanding that at the end of the day, she is driving the ship because you are driven by the fear of her rejection.
So,
and I think that's where she's saying the beta male mentality comes in, because a strong alpha man, he's not going to care about that fear. He's not even going to worry about that fear, because he already knows,
that
like,
is so
regardless.
Wrong. That is just so wrong.
So what I'm
it's
hearing
just so wrong.
And correct me if I'm
this
wrong.
is coming from a bunch of beta males.
So
where's an alpha guy?
So I'm a beta male now? Okay.
I'm just trying to say,
so,
I'm the most alpha male you've met.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Case, I'm going to challenge you on that. There have been numerous instances that I have witnessed of your behavior where fear did guide you. Most recently with your ex-wife, and I won't get into the details, but the fact that you lied to her,
it's not worth the fight.
That is
it's not worth the fight.
Fear. Absolutely
it's
fear.
Not
when
worth
you
the
have
fight.
to lie
no,
to
it's
someone,
not fear.
When you lie to someone, it is driven by fear.
That is so wrong, not true.
Especially.
Absolutely, Scarlett, that is just not true. Well, that's just not true.
I can agree with Scarlett on this.
You were driven by fear of the consequences, whether it was the fear of what she would do, the fear of what she would think of you, whatever it was, you lied to her to escape the consequences.
It's not, no, you escape the
either
fight.
way, however you want to paint it, it was a beta male action.
Okay.
That
mic drop
was a beta mindset.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay. Ridiculous.
No, it's not.
This is ridiculous.
And honestly, Chase, being real talk here, I lost respect for you in that moment because I realized this is a man that is driven by his fear, not with conviction.
Okay.
He did not tell his ex-wife, no, this is what happened, XYZ, and been completely authentic. Instead, he ran. He is driven by fear, and I lost respect for you in that moment because of that.
So in the moment we have here, so instead of saying, here's what happened, I called you and said, hey, here's what I did, to try to protect you and the show, not me.
Okay,
and you're telling me
I
ran from fear?
You were the nice guy. That you are demonstrating.
No, it's not a nice guy. It wasn't
a nice guy.
The fight wasn't me.
You were the nice guy.
Hold on.
I was here to protect you.
No, Scarlett.
I was here to protect
well, I'm not going to try to talk
you,
over her, so go ahead.
on me.
Y'all.
No, I'm trying to tell you that the fight wasn't, the fear wasn't me.
We have lost where we were talking about. We have become a personalized conversation rather than a generalized conversation.
So
I think we're getting too heated.
right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but
I'm not heated. I'm passionate. I'm not mad.
No, I
oh
wouldn't say mad.
no, I
It's
think this
become
is
a
a great
personal
conversation.
conversation,
Like,
though.
this is the coolest freaking debate ever, and I'm so excited about it, and it's all got me all giddy.
And I'll tell you why, because Chase is the first to call any of us out on our bullshit. And so right now I'm calling him out on his bullshit because what he's selling, I'm not
And if
buying.
you,
Because
well,
I've
Scarlett,
seen
if you were
specific
calling me
examples
out,
of
I would
nothing.
let you. What you're doing is over talking. You're not calling me out, but that's fine.
So this is
Which
this
you
is
also
where
do
I was
all the
trying to go, right?
All right, go ahead.
So Brandon was saying that he didn't want to take his emotional problems to his wife because in fear of her leaving him if he did that, right?
Okay, so hold on. Before you get any further, Landon, I was making that a general statement. I don't actually have those problems in my marriage, so I do want to clarify
Right.
It's
that.
a general
I was just
statement, right?
saying it's just the
Well,
way I was.
have you guys listened to the Samp episode?
No, not yet.
Well, you guys ought to listen to the Samp episode.
Oh, trust me, I'm gonna be listening to more tomorrow. I'm cleaning out my house and just throwing away shit that I don't need anymore. And so I've been listening to y'all while I do all that because it's like y'all talk about sex and all that stuff, and it's cool, and it's interesting, and it's something different that I've never heard on a podcast before. So it's like, well, But anyway,
He's fanboying
but
right now.
yeah. So you're saying that he's being a beta male for fear of that. But if he was doing the alpha energy, right, he wouldn't give a fuck if his wife left him or not. For saying that, he should just say it and not give a fuck. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well,
Yes,
no. That's
pretty
that's
much.
that's a
Yes, that yes.
That's what I
what
heard.
I mean, that's what I heard.
It's
Yes.
the difference between okay, no, it's being authentic to who you are, your core value system, your drive, whatever your mission and your course is in life, that you are dedicated to that. And her rejection of you is not knocking you off of your value system. It's not knocking you off of your mission, of your goals, whatever it is that you're set on. You're not getting knocked off of that simply because she might leave you.
Well, it's not
And
saying that
I can
of it.
say this. I can say this for and I'll use Scarlett as an example, if you don't mind, Scarlett. Just like with Scarlett, and she talks about it several on a lot on the podcast with her and her husband.
Oh, we lost you.
Yeah.
Right,
She'll come
when you
back.
get into it, man. It
This
This
happens.
is how
There we
it
go.
is, and she stood by her word regardless of the outcome. She didn't let the fear take over and say, no, well, I want an open relationship, but I'm so scared that my husband is going to want a divorce, so I'm not going to say anything. That's
Right.
what she's
But
saying.
the other, but
She
but I
stood
think
by
what they're
her.
saying is I think what they're saying is another way of saying that is I don't give a shit enough. I don't care if he leaves or not.
No.
No, it's not.
managing
No, it's
that
not.
anxiety. You can care a lot, but it's managing that anxiety to not let it dictate your behavior.
Exactly.
You can be scared shitless. That is the definition of courage, being scared shitless and doing it anyway. It's
Right, I
not
didn't
that
say
you
you
don't
weren't
care
scared.
about her
Well,
leaving.
I said not
It's
caring.
that I'm not going to be knocked off my value system, and I'm not going to be knocked off my mission just because
what
I
we're
fear you.
saying, what we're saying as men is that we do that on a daily basis. So the one
Correct.
time when we fall from that pedestal, we just want the woman to be there to comfort us while we figure out a way to climb back up. That's what we're getting at the end of the day. I've been with my wife for 12 years. That is something to celebrate. And if me being worried that I may lose her one day makes me a beta male, well, then you can call me whatever you want. I love her with all my heart. And if I was to ever lose her, that would devastate me. And I don't think that makes me a beta male in any way, shape, or form. I think that makes me passionate. And I think that makes me more of an alpha than any other man out there for loving my wife to that extent.
But if you ever want to answer the riddle of why your wife gripes at you about the way you park, there is
That
your
was just
answer.
a thing. She doesn't.
Right.
That was just like
No.
you know.
She's saying in
But
general.
in general, if a man is
Right.
wondering why his wife talks to him with disdain and bitches at him about the way he does things, it's because somewhere down the line, she has lost some respect. And it's a spectrum, right? It's not yes or no.
Right.
It's a spectrum. But
I'm glad you
where there is that tone of disdain, there is somewhere where she has some anxiety because she doesn't feel secure.
I agree with
guarantee you.
Scarlett. I agree with Scarlett on that.
And I find it interesting, though, because what I would say is for every point that you show that they're losing respect, somebody else is going to view that as another way. You're going to, and I'll take the one you put out a minute ago. You'll say that's me compromising. Somebody else will say that's me protecting. It's all how you look at it. And that's if you were in love with me, you might look at it as protecting. If you were pissed at me, you look at it as compromising. And so as a man, it's not really the action we're taking, it's the perception that you're viewing it in. Because I can do, if I come up to you and say,
I
hey,
would disagree
we're
with
going
you,
to Red
Chase.
Lobster. Well, I know you would, and I would disagree with you. That's not, I mean, that's why we're having this debate, because we disagree. So if I came up to Hazel and I said, Hazel, hey, you know what we're doing tonight? We're going to Applebee's, then we're going to come home, we're going to watch Netflix. This is what we're doing. She's already said she'd say no to that. But all I've heard all night is that's what you want a guy to do. But what I'm really hearing is you want me to decide the way you want me to decide.
Yes.
You'll respect my decisions if they're the decisions you would make.
Yes.
Yes.
You'll respect my actions if they're the actions you would like.
Yes.
And that's
No.
what I'm hearing. And I'm also hearing,
No.
but that's what
No.
that's what
I
I'm
don't agree with that.
Yes, sir.
No,
I'm married.
I don't agree with that.
I am married to one that will follow whatever I do, and ask me how much I respect that.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. I don't,
But Scarlett, but you're not in love with him, and you don't look at him that way. It's a perception.
Exactly.
If you were in love,
why
you'd look at
is
it in a
that?
different way.
Why is
she's
that?
not. It's because she doesn't respect him.
Exactly.
But at some point but again, it's because of what his actions are. It's your perception of it and your perspective. Because there's other things that men can do that people would find different. As we sit here again, I will go back to my original. What I've heard a lot of in the last 45 minutes is, hey, men do this, 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 and here's what men need to do. I'll go back to what you bring to the table, which none of y'all like. What do you do that we get to judge? What do you do that I get to say? You're a bitch, you're a this, you're a that.
My hero, bro.
The thing that guys most crave is admiration and respect. That's what you're craving from your women. And we will give it.
I crave admiration, respect from other. I feel
it's what came first, the chicken or the egg?
From my peers.
Did the security come first or the admiration? It's a chicken or egg situation.
Increase my
Scarlett,
status.
Because they're directly correlated.
Scarlett, I'm telling you that I don't crave admiration, respect from my partner.
Nope,
I crave it from my peers.
Exactly.
Right.
I want to look good in
I don't
front of my wife, not to my wife.
Yes.
I
don't crave that admiration, respect from my partner.
But when I get home, I want to know that she loves me even when I'm not this perfect alpha male that everyone else sees. I just want her to still be there for me then.
Yeah, yes, that is.
I get what you're saying.
You know me, Scarlett.
I totally get what you guys were saying.
Successful. And I crave admiration, respect from the people in my business world that I'm around.
Yes.
When I come home, I don't crave admiration, respect
at all.
At all.
I crave peace when I get home. I want
love and support, and that's what I crave.
When your woman
and right, you know how you get that peace is exactly what Scarlett's saying, from your woman being secure.
So why is it not happening?
Because she doesn't feel secure.
So what I'm hearing is my love and support has to be unconditional. Yours is conditional.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm hearing.
What I'm saying.
That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said.
Yes.
I'm saying that security is what fuels what you're wanting, and what you're wanting fuels the security, right? They fuel each other.
That's exactly what we just said. That's exactly what we just said.
But if I don't provide mine, you don't have to provide yours. You're saying
vice versa.
Yours comes from me.
Vice versa.
It's conditional, but it's conditional.
But isn't that part of But isn't
I
that
can
part of
see
a
where you guys
partnership?
are saying that. I can understand where you guys are saying that it's a conditional thing.
That's
That
that's the second
that you
time.
guys are
Hazel, you're a
pretty much.
goddess. That's the second time you've said you understand the male perspective.
But-
You're a
But
goddess.
isn't that all
Oh,
boils
Lord.
down to the fundamentals of a partnership, though? I mean, am I
Yes.
missing something?
No, you're
Well,
absolutely
no,
right, Willow. That's what we're
but
asking
my
for.
business partner and I, we're in a partnership. If something goes bad, we both lose. If something goes bad, we both win. If we have to do something, we fight that battle together. What you're
I
saying
don't
is, no,
understand
honey,
how
you
your
go fight that
perspective
fight.
is not. I don't understand how yours is not conditional when you're saying I'm not going to take you to Cabo until you give me that.
Yeah.
Well, because
I've never said
that's a
that.
conditional date.
That's a conditional
That's
date.
that's
yes.
a date.
Right.
That's a conditional date. That's
But
a
I've never even
transactional
said
date.
that
So
either.
how long
If-
are you going to go giving a woman security in any form or fashion if you're not getting what you're desiring from her? How is it not conditional both ways?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
because I will love her and I will give her unconditional support. But if she's a taker, then that's stupid to let somebody take. Then you need to bail
So
from that.
it's
That's not a
conditional both
partnership.
ways. You're making my point. It's
Yeah.
conditional both ways. We're
Yeah.
both
But what you're-
seeking our fundamental
Scarlett,
needs
but-
from each other, and where they're not met, we're going to
Okay,
leave.
but what you're saying is mine has to be first. And
Yes.
if I do mine, then you'll do yours. That's the
No.
condition I'm talking
Yes.
about. Oh, yes, it is. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
no,
saying
it's
that.
true.
Absolutely.
That's true. If a man
that's what
doesn't
you
do
said.
it, the woman definitely won't.
Because if the man doesn't provide
that-
the security, you won't provide the respect. It's conditional.
You may not have meant it that way, but that's exactly what you said. You may not have meant it.
So
playing
so
devil's advocate
basically
here,
you're
I can see that.
So basically, you're complaining that you have to put the foot forward first. Which let's see how this plays out in all forms of dating. Is it not the guy
No,
that's reaching
Scarlett.
out to the woman? How many of us are initiating conversations with you?
Well,
Is it
with
not the
modern day
guy that
feminism,
opens
most
the
guys
door for
aren't
the
reaching
woman?
out to women first.
What we're getting at, it doesn't matter
Really?
if we've done it. It doesn't matter if we've done it first. It's that we have to do it
Right.
all the time. And if we fail to do it, there is a
All the
condition
time.
that we will not receive it.
Correct.
So it's not
But
just the
also
first time,
Scarcity.
it's your
that's part
entire
of being
relationship.
that's part of the leadership that men
Yes.
are
Which is what we're
grown
bitching
or
about.
Well,
We're
nobody's
we
just
twisting.
seeking a
Nobody's
leader.
twisting your arm to be with women either. Don't be single.
Well,
What the
and that's
fuck?
what I was going to say too. It's the law of supply and demand. And let's
Right.
face it, we have all kinds of supply. So if you guys
For
want to fix
sex.
this paradigm shift, make it more scarce.
You have supply for sex. You
Right.
have sex with who you want to. We marry who we want to.
Exactly.
You marry who you can. We have sex with who we can. There's a difference. You
Oh,
can have
honey, we
anybody
have
for the
sex
night.
with toys. We can have sex with toys. You guys are
Which is
nothing
fine.
special.
Well, so can we. So can we. I mean, so can we. I mean, that's not a big deal. I don't even need to buy a toy. I can have sex with my
Yeah,
hand.
I can't compete with a 10-inch round dildo. So I'm sorry. I can't. 10 inches round, bro.
Hey, Landon,
like,
just
you know what I'm saying? I can't
stick
compete
your
with
foot
that.
in and wiggle your toes.
You know what I'm saying?
Stick your foot in and wiggle your toes. It's fine.
I could probably do that.
He said it may just hit
Yeah,
the
you
back
can
of the tuna can, but it'll scrape the sides, baby.
Yeah.
I think it just boils down to if you want somebody in your life and what you want to give and take. That's all it boils down to.
Yeah.
I also feel like what everybody's looking for at that point of their life, it's always going to be different for everybody,
Right.
and everybody's perspective of each situation is completely different. I mean, I can see on both sides of what you guys are saying, where the guys are coming from. I can see where you're saying that you guys don't feel like you're able to be vulnerable with a female. I also see it from Scarlett's side, because I am a female, and I see that also. If my man comes to me several occasions emotional about how he can't pay the bills, then yes, that would that would make me feel like, oh shit, I'm gonna eventually have to drive the ship. In that I could see where I would, in the back of my mind, once things get back on track, that oh shit, any day now he can lose control, and I'm
Right,
gonna
'cause
have
it's
to
a
pick up that.
destabilization. If it's a couple times in a short period, like a couple times in 6 months, I can understand that because it's a destabilization of what the relationship is for the provider. But if it's like, maybe once or I don't know, twice a year or something like that,
that's a lot. But that's a lot twice a year for shit to go down for us women to. And not just that, but for us to try to stay in our feminine energy and then have to switch back over to that masculine and to take over, that's where the anxiety and the loss of respect, like, that's where we get that from.
But
so can I ask a
that
question?
Right there is the leading cause of why men commit suicide.
Correct.
What we're bitching about is that we're tired of being the rock all the time. And if you say once or twice a year, I can't come to you and say, I'm not sure what to do right now, and I just need you to hold me for a minute so I can break down for a moment, and then tomorrow wake up and fix it. That's why men commit suicide, because they can't go to the one person in the world that is supposed to love them unconditionally without there being a condition.
No, that maybe they need to go to their partner and say, I need some help, professional help, before they commit suicide.
It's not the same. It's not the same as the person you love. It's helpful. I'm not saying that, counseling and stuff like therapy isn't helpful, because it absolutely 100% is helpful, but it's just not the same to a man.
Mm-hmm.
So can we?
I could understand. I definitely could understand why you guys would want to go to your females, to your lady or whoever, to have that vulnerable space. But again, from a female perspective, all right, like, get your shit together. Like, you gotta either steer the fucking boat or let somebody else do it.
Right. So here's the question I have, though, and I keep going back to this. What I've heard is, guys, get your shit together. Guys, make sure it's okay. Guys. I've heard nothing about what y'all are doing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
You haven't
I can't
asked.
imagine.
Ask.
Well, no, we have.
He has asked.
We said, let us come to you
Multiple
once
times.
or twice a week. And I've asked multiple times, let us come to you once or twice a year. And I've heard, no. Mm-mm. That's switching between energies is too much for me. You need to go slay dragons. But for me to understand you need to cry to me twice a year, fuck that.
I'd rather you
I
go
mean, are
cry
you
in your
hearing
car
that?
and then
Yeah,
kill
I'd rather you go
yourself
cry
later.
in your
That's
car.
what I'm hearing.
I don't think any of us have said that or thought
But
that.
that's what we're hearing as men.
That's
is
what,
that
but
you
again,
don't want us to cry to you once or twice a year. You'd rather us go in the car and cry it out. And
No, we're not
like,
saying that we're not saying that. We're saying that if you come to us to cry about whatever it is, okay, fine. It's that fear.
But that it's going to happen.
It is that.
But what do
it's
we
being
get? What do
led
we
by
get
the
from,
fear.
Right. It's the fear of,
you're
oh
justifying
shit.
it. You're justifying it, though. You're saying that what we're saying is true.
Yes.
But that is going to happen.
No, I'm saying you can still be vulnerable. You still can be emotional, but not let the fear dictate your behavior and actions.
That's not what we're asking to do, though. We're asking,
right,
let me sit down in your arms and just be emotional for a minute so that tomorrow I can get up and fix my shit. That's what we're asking
you
for.
absolutely can. But
that's
you
not what
cannot let your woman see that the fear is dictating your behavior.
So
you still have to hold true to who you are, your value system,
but Scarlett,
and your course.
But what you're saying, I'm going to say this. What you're saying, in theory, I get. Practically speaking, is nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nonsense.
I disagree completely.
Well,
so
I
what I'm
understand you
hearing
disagree,
is
but
this.
the three men in the room are saying, here's what we're hearing, and all we're getting is you're wrong.
Yeah.
We're not getting anything. We're just hearing you're wrong. We're not hearing. I'm hearing no rational behind it, no logic behind it. I'm just hearing, nope, you're wrong.
Go read
Which
the
is why
book,
we wouldn't
The Way of the Superior Man. It's a
I
phenomenal
got
book,
it
and it's written
I'm
for
definitely
men.
going to check into
for
it.
you guys by a man. By a
I'm
man
gonna work on
for men, and it's phenomenal, and it will absolutely articulate these principles that I'm speaking.
So look,
I appreciate you. I respect you.
Right.
But the book, I don't think, is the answer to everything in the world. I will read it. I will give you that. I will respect you, and I will definitely read that book. But I don't think it's the answer to everything in the world, because you have three separate men giving you the same perspective, and you think the one man that wrote the book is the correct perspective. I will read it. I haven't read it yet. I just think it's a little weird.
Okay,
I don't think she's saying it's the correct perspective.
And it's
hold
not
on.
the
I don't-
only book that's writing this, and it's not the only man that thinks this.
I'm going to give you
Well,
guys
yes,
an
but-
example here from a woman's perspective on anxiety and insecurity. This summer, I went through a horrible experience with a employer that actually ended up in the Wall Street Journal because they were so crooked. And I lost my job, got laid off, lost my job. And my husband said through the whole summer, "Oh, take your time, find your job, don't worry about it. I make quite a bit more than he does. Take the summer off, don't worry about it." Come find end of August, he's like, now I wasn't getting unemployment because I got a severance. So come end of August, he says to me, so are you going to help pay the mortgage for September? Now I've been paying the mortgage, all the bills for the rest of the summer. But I ran out of severance money. And he said, so are you going to help pitch in for the bills for September? I said, I hadn't planned on it because I told you my severance ran out. So this is 2 weeks before the 1st of September. Now, I had been the breadwinner for this family all these years, and he says this to me and can't take care of me for 1 month and tell me that the respect there for him I lost. Because
I can totally see in that situation where you're at.
I immediately panicked because I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I've gone 12 years going to school, working full time. I've got my master's, and the one friggin' time I need help. So Chase, you're about, well, what do you bring to the table? I brought
You
a
bring
lot
a
of
lot,
shit
obviously.
to that. Right.
Well, but so let's change that around though. Let me play devil's advocate. So I have spent 10 years paying the rent and the mortgage. I've spent 10 years being the father in the rock. I've spent all this time being there for you. And the one time I need to come cry to you and say I need help, you lose respect for me.
That is
Why can't we?
what we were
That's
just
the
speaking about.
exact same thing.
This is-
That what you're saying, switch it to the guy, and that's what we're complaining about. The exact thing that I feel for you. I would agree with you 100%.
100%.
But for some reason, you're not agreeing with us, and we're saying the same thing.
No, but what
I can
but-
see you guys. I can see from y'all's perspective how you feel that way.
I'm saying, I'm agreeing with Scarlett that women need a man to be strong and need a man to have
Which
her
is fine.
back
We want
and
to be
have her
strong.
back.
We do want to have your
And
back.
we need you to have our
But
back.
we want that
Exactly.
same thing.
And that's what I've been saying, that it's a partnership. It's a two-way street. It's not just one guy or one woman versus the world, and that they're holding up the whole relationship, the whole partnership.
But I don't think anybody said that.
No.
I don't think anybody said that.
Well, but you're saying though, Chase, you're saying that, well, what do you bring to the table? Because I'm bringing everything.
In your
No,
situation,
I didn't say I'm bringing.
you absolutely are bringing a ton. I
What
don't want to discredit you.
What I
Lila.
said was, what are you bringing to the table? I didn't say I bring everything. I said, what are you bringing? That's all.
You know what I'm
that's
bringing
all
to the
I've asked.
table? I'm bringing smart ass remarks and sarcasm. Fuck it.
And a 9
But
inch
you're waiting, Chase, though. You're waiting to see what the woman brings instead of just accepting
Willow,
what she
no,
is.
Willow, I'm not. What I'm
Let me ask
saying
this.
is, go ahead. But
Okay.
no, that's not what I'm saying at all.
So from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm hearing, I go to my significant other, and I say, "Hey, I'm working on a fix for this, but you know what? I need to fucking cry about it for a goddamn minute, and I need you to hold me."
Yeah.
And then
And
the
they
woman
lose
would not
respect for you.
lose respect for him for that.
No,
No.
no,
No.
no.
Some
Okay,
women
but
might,
guys,
but
I
not
don't
all
That's
know
what
women.
y'all
where
said
that
all
message is
night.
coming
That's what
across.
you've said all night. Yeah, that was.
That's what you
No,
said
that
all
is
night.
not what
No,
I said.
that's
You
not
can
what
No,
be
she's saying.
vulnerable. You can be
Okay, the three of
emotional.
us.
You can be crying. You can be all of that.
Is
And
that not the
still
beta energy?
be true and authentic to your value system and your mission. Do not
Sure.
let your fear
But-
dictate your actions.
But only once a year, though.
Right.
No,
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
that's exactly
you
what
crying,
you said.
You
I'm
tried
You guys
to
are
do
that
to
one.
do.
you guys are
You're not hearing what
totally
I'm
not
saying.
listening. You guys are totally missing everything that we're trying to say.
Yeah.
It's that fear that is the motivation of us losing respect for you guys.
Yeah.
How do you know
It's not
fear?
even that you have the fear, it's that you're letting the fear dictate your
Dictate,
actions.
right.
That
How
the
do you-
fear is what guides you, not
Scarlett,
your own value system and mission.
That's not what
it's
we're
the fear
saying.
that's guiding you, and that is
That's-
scary
but-
as fuck.
Scarlett, with all due respect,
Scary.
you keep saying that. The three of us haven't said that yet.
Exactly.
You keep
We're
telling us
saying
that, and we don't saying that.
we're saying we've got
And I
this.
never
We
said
know we're gonna
crying,
fix
we
it
lose
tomorrow.
respect.
But right now, I need to be held
No
because it's
one
been that bad of a
here-
day.
No one here is saying that we would lose respect because you're crying. No one here is saying that.
Okay,
No
so
one
here's the
here
question.
thinks that.
But we just said if we come to you, you would say yes, because now that's instability. If you couldn't handle it, you could. That's what y'all said all
No.
night.
What
Am I
I'm
missing
saying
something? It is what you said
is
all night.
you letting fear dictate your actions. That
So
is what is scary.
Instead of giving me a parable, give me a specific. How does fear dictate
I did.
someone's actions?
I gave you a specific that you did.
Yeah, but you were wrong. I wasn't scared of anything.
So
That's
It was-
bullshit.
nobody
You're just
was
not
coming after
self-
me.
You're not self-aware enough
in a
to realize it.
non-personal aspect.
Yep.
Like
You're
just
going
take
personal again.
GoPro and
Right.
and have it as a general and not a personal aspect, and maybe we could see it differently.
Okay. Trying to come up with an example on the fly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know
any
that's
exam-
one of those things.
any situation in which a guy is led by the fear of rejection of a woman, and we know this, guys, whether consciously or subconsciously, we know when you are led by that.
But
Coming
you're
from
When
the
that
that's
is
much more
what's guiding
specific.
your actions, it is evident.
But that's much more specific than what you said earlier. I mean, if I'm fearful I'm going to lose my job and not be able to support my family, that's not fear of losing a woman. That's fear of losing my job and not feeding
Any
my
fear.
family.
Any
Well,
fear.
okay, now it's
that
any
is
fear.
what
Well-
guides your actions. That is scary.
So guys are not allowed to have
You're-
fear, is what I'm hearing. We're
No,
never allowed to be
no.
scared.
I never said that. I said the definition of courage is that despite the fear, you act on your value system and your mission. So
But then,
yes,
under
you're
your
going to have
definition,
fear.
fear-
You're going to have fear. You're going to have anxiety. Of course you are. You're human. But is that what's
But we just
guiding
can't let you
you?
see it.
Right, we just can't act
No,
upon it or
I
let
never
you see
said
it.
that either. You're not listening to me. You
That's
can
the
show
stuff that
it
we're
or
getting.
you can
We're
have it.
receiving that.
You can't be guided by it. There's a difference.
What does
you
that
can
mean?
have the fear,
What
you
does
can
that mean?
show the
What
fear,
does that
you
mean?
cannot be guided by the fear.
What does that mean?
How are we guided by the fear? Is the question.
Right.
Because what
Any
I've been
decision that
saying,
you
at least,
make because you fear rejection, judgment, because you fear the negative consequence, whatever that might be, insert it here, right? If whatever situation might arise that's going to be a negative consequence that you're afraid of is the guiding force behind what you're doing, rather than your value system and your mission.
so
That's
okay,
what I'm talking about.
let me say let's say I'm worried, I'm fearful that I'm going to lose my house. But what's driving me to avoid that fear is I've got a family to protect. But I'm confused
so
here.
your value system,
My values is to take care of my family.
let me just throw out what my value system is. I can't speak for you, but I can speak for me. My own value system is good work ethic. At the end of the day, I don't feel proud of myself if I haven't done my best and worked hard at what I do, right? So me paying my bills is the result of me working hard, and that fits into my value system. I'm doing it because it aligns with my values, not because I'm fearing the consequence.
But why? I don't even understand how that applies at all.
Yeah, I didn't understand how that connected
I
to
have
what
a
we were
lot
talking
of
about.
Okay, honesty. That's another one of my core values. I value honesty, and there's certainly many situations where it's very easy to lie to avoid a consequence. But my value system is honesty. So there's been many situations where I had the fear, but I did not let it dictate my actions. I still was very honest in the face of a negative consequence.
I'm still not understanding how that ties back to I've had a bad day at work and I want to come home and be emotional to my wife, but she is then going to lose respect for me. That didn't change how my values
But
were.
what we're
Because I'm
saying
trying to
is,
explain to you how we lose respect. It's not the emotion that causes us to lose respect. It's when we
Okay.
see
So
that you are guided by your fears.
so
That
help
is
me
when we
understand
lose
how
respect.
But Scarlett,
that's not what I'm
how
saying.
do you
though.
see? Yeah, you don't know what we're guided by. You're making assumptions.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
You
Bullshit.
don't.
Absolute bullshit.
That's not bullshit. That's not bullshit.
Absolute bullshit.
We're
Oh,
telling
yes,
you
it
how we
is.
feel and you're telling us we're wrong.
You're telling us we're wrong, and you know what we're guided by. You know why we did something. Really?
Just like we had
Really?
this story the other day, and this episode hasn't come out yet, but we have an episode coming out in the next few weeks where I talk about a conversation I had with a guy over coffee, the bartender from the burlesque show, and how I zoned in on what he was asserting to me was that he did not have a negative self-narrative, and I explained, here are XYZ 1, 2, 3, everything I've seen in the last 90 minutes that would say otherwise.
Right, but even on that episode, half the people disagreed with you.
Disagreed with me about what?
They disagreed about the way you said it and the way you went about it.
Oh, I understand that they
You
didn't
don't know
like
that.
the way that I
You
called
don't
him
know.
out on that. But at the end of the day, we all knew he did have a negative self-narrative. It was self-evident because of
But
the
you
way
don't
he was
know.
acting.
But let's say that's true. You don't know what the driving force was for that. You're assuming it was rejection.
but what Scarlett is trying to say is that
Our
it doesn't
BS
matter.
meter. Go ahead, sorry.
I think what Scarlett is saying is that it doesn't matter what is the cause of it. The fact is that she can pick up on that. And that is what she's calling out, is what she's picking up on.
Right, but what I'm saying is, what one woman, I'm not going to pick. I mean, I believe Scarlett's saying exactly what she feels. I don't doubt that a bit. I think she's being very genuine. What I'm saying is, one person's fear is another person's protection.
Yes.
One person, and it's all in your perception of that. One person sees you're scared, so you're doing something. The other person sees it as you're being protective and you're guiding, and it's all about your perception. So what you're saying,
if you really examine lying, any kind of lying, if you dissect lying just as a general thing, you can, at its root, tie it to fear somewhere. It's a fear of a negative consequence that causes people
I
to
agree
lie.
with that.
Any lie about anything.
Right.
I won't deny that.
It's fear.
Yes, but you're arguing if you walked up and said, "Do I look good in this dress?" and I said, "Yeah, baby, you do," instead of "No, your ass looks huge," I'm not sure that's a fear or that's a decide that you just said,
"Oh, it's a fear."
I'm being an asshole.
It absolutely is.
Or
it absolutely is.
I could say,
and right there, your woman may very well be testing you in those
being
moments.
an asshole.
Yeah, but you'd also be called insensitive and an asshole for telling her ass looks too big in those jeans.
Or it could be a compliment.
You don't have to be an asshole about it. You can be honest. Trust me, I've perfected the art of being honest and not being an asshole. Now, I can be an asshole sometimes when I just don't give a fuck. But I also, when I really am trying, can be nice and be honest. Because I don't let the fear of someone's judgment or rejection dictate whether I'm honest, because honesty is my core value and I'm not going to be knocked off that course.
But Scarlett, you've just said
in the face of someone asking me how I think they look, I am going to be honest. If I don't think they look good, I'm going to say that.
Except the fear of them rejecting you or how they view you is going to change the way you say it, because you're scared and you're fearful. So if you weren't fearful, you would just be straight up bitch, because that's you. But since you're fearful of their reaction to it, you're going to be nicer and deliver it in a different way. So you do the same thing. What's the difference?
I'm the one that doesn't deliver it in a nice way.
I believe that.
So
I'm sure Scarlett would agree.
a little bit.
Where
I
I
would
think
completely-
I need to, where I think I actually need to adjust my value system is the times when I don't give a fuck about someone's feelings. That's what I need to adjust, because at the end of the day, I don't want people feeling like shit. So it's actually that end of the spectrum that I'm trying to correct, not the times whenever I'm trying to be nice and
So-
not
we're
have
all
them feel like
all
shit.
imperfect human beings. We're all improving every day. You know, it is
or
what it
we
is.
all have different
Yeah.
or we all have different value systems. Landon may value being a polite gentleman, so he's not going to tell the girl her ass looks huge. You see that as fear. He says his value system. Okay.
I have heard
You know
Landon
what?
on more than one
Women-
occasion tell me he lives by a
But-
code of honor.
Yeah.
But guys, you don't realize how you're undermining your own respect by your woman when you make those white lies. And your woman may very well be testing you in those moments. And I'm telling you, there is a direct correlation. When she knows her man is lying, there is a direct correlation in the anxiety, the loss of security, and by extension, the loss of respect. You don't
So-
understand how much those white lies undermine your relationship with your woman.
I think
I'm saying I understand that. I'm saying if she asks me if she knows she's 300 pounds and asks me how her ass looks, she's not looking for honesty. She knows. She's looking for a compliment. She's looking for some sort of admiration. She's looking for some sort of help. She's not looking for, yeah, baby, your ass is huge. You look like a fat ox. That's not what she's looking for, or she wouldn't have asked the question.
Why does this phenomenon exist where everyone says nice guys finish last and women want assholes? Perhaps what we want is guys that are honest in every situation, because that is the rock.
So let me
That
give
is
you
a
an
man that's
example.
not knocked off his course.
Or perhaps
Pretty
you're making
honest.
excuses for bad decisions.
Hazel just
You're
wants to
blaming
know
the
when was
guy.
the last time. I just want to know when was the last time everybody had sex.
About
Well,
8
when
hours.
was the last time everybody had
Tonight
sex?
after work. Woo!
Yeah, about eight hours.
Hey!
I told y'all
we
earlier.
look,
4
we know
a.m. this
Landon hadn't
morning.
had it in forever.
Is Father Landon to you?
See, I would absolutely agree with Scarlett. If in certain situations, I absolutely agree with you without question. I think in general, what you're saying is true. I also think in general, there are things that applying that doesn't fit, and you're trying to apply it 100% of the time, and that doesn't work. But in general, I would agree with you. Any lie you tell is going to have a negative consequence. And
Absolutely.
if you lie, you're doing it because you're trying to alter an outcome. Now,
So
that could be fear.
correct me if
That
I'm
could
wrong
be, that
here,
could be
Scarlett.
several aspects, but yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Scarlett. I'll give you an example in my personal life of why I think specifically what you just touched on. I think what you're getting at. When my wife does her makeup, she will come to me and she'll say, "How do my eyes look?" And she'll have me check her eye makeup. And I'll be honest with her, there are times where I'll look at her and I'll be like, that left one's a little wonky. You want to go back to the drawing board? And she'll give me the stank eye, but she'll go back and then she'll come back and she'll have like really outdone herself now and be like, now that's sexy. And she'll be like, you damn right it is. And I think maybe that's what you're talking about, where they want you to be honest all the time.
Yes.
I'd agree.
Yes.
I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yes, 100%.
So what do you think about
And that I
your
respect.
significant other having guy friends or girlfriends? Like, so if your man has girlfriends, or your wife or girlfriend has guy friends, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think it's
Well,
great.
I'm not the one to. Yeah, me and Hazel are not the ones to ask. We're not monogamous, so we could.
I think it's great. Well,
that is
not just
very
that, but I think it's good for a couple to have friends as an individual, because to me, in a relationship, I think most people in the relationship only see themselves as a wife or a husband, and they view that other person as their husband instead of their husband, their friend, and an individual. So I think it's important to have your friends as an individual as well as a couple. To me, that is important. So do I care if my guy has girlfriends? I could care less
So for me,
personally.
my feelings on it, right? I mean, I'm monogamous, but my feelings on it is I don't care if my girl has guy friends. Yeah, I'm sure all of them want to fuck her, and if she chooses that path, then so be it. That's on her. That's not on me. And if she didn't want to be in the monogamous relationship to begin with, well, then she should have specified that. But I'm just like you. You're gonna choose your own path. But at the end of the day, I mean, you want your guy friends, you can have them. And if you want to fuck them, you can do that too. And it's just gonna not be without me.
See, this is where coming from a man in a monogamous relationship, I think it's okay for my wife to have male friends. Do I think it's okay to allow those male friends to get too close? No. I think it's the same for me. Do I let my female friends get too close? No.
Okay,
You
what do
don't
you
want to
mean?
leave.
What do you mean by too close? Because, and maybe it's just because I'm non-monogamous. What if there is something that you don't possess within your being that another person is able to give her? And so
Then
I
I'm
want
not fulfilling my
clarification.
need as her husband. I need to figure out ways to give her what she needs.
But
She
what
can
if you're
have
not
friends, and that's
capable?
fine.
But what if you're okay? For
Well,
instance,
what am I not
let's
capable
say
of?
let's just say
What am I not
ballet.
capable of?
I'm just gonna say this. Let's say ballet,
I do
right?
ballet with my daughter.
Yeah, I'm a good ballet
Okay,
dancer.
but I'm
I'm pretty
just
fit.
saying something. Okay, let's go with makeup. She
I do
absolutely
my
loves
daughter's
makeup,
makeup. I
right?
paint my wife's toenails and her fingernails.
But she loves it. She loves the contouring. She loves the eyeshadow, the mascara,
Guess I better
and
watch some
she
YouTube videos,
loves
huh?
right. But if she tells you, "Hey, babe, I want to like check this video out," and most men are like, "Ugh, like I don't want to watch this. I'd much rather be watching the football
That's
or
most
Yeah, there are
men,
whatever."
very
but
much
that's
exceptions of the rule for
why
sure.
I've been married 12 years and most men haven't.
But I'm saying most men aren't going to
Mhm.
want to sit there and watch 2 or 3 hours of YouTube of contouring
Sure,
videos, right?
that's true.
Now, she
That's very
may
true.
have a guy friend who is passionate about makeup just as she is, and they can share that passion together.
I mean, that's fine,
So
but you
that's what I'm
don't
saying.
want to allow too much
Whenever you
in
say,
between your relationship. It's like airing your dirty laundry. You don't want to give your dirty laundry to too many people either, because then that opens up, gaps in your relationship for other people to squeeze their way into. And as a monogamous man, you don't put gaps in your relationship. That's part of being that rock and being stable for her, is not allowing other men to try to fill her head with doubt and move in that way. And same for me, not
okay,
allowing
so
other women into my space to
I
allow
think
them
I
into my
think
space.
whenever you say not allowing her, I would have an issue with, because that to me sounds like more of a control thing than allowing her to make that decision for herself.
Well, she does make that decision for herself. Maybe I'm not wording that properly, and I do the same thing for myself. We both have friends that are of opposite genders, but we both have come to that same term that it's not comfortable for us to be around someone of the opposite gender for too long, or for like in private. Like if we go out to a public setting and she's got guy friends there, like that's fine, that's different. But like she wouldn't take it upon herself to go to a guy friend's house so they can watch a movie and talk about makeup. That
Right.
she just wouldn't do that. And I wouldn't do the same for a lady. I wouldn't go to a female's friend's house without her and just watch a movie and we talk about I don't know, whatever it is that I'm interested in, because that opens up seeds of doubt and allows you to get too comfortable with someone else that's not your spouse. Which, I mean, for
Yeah,
someone,
Well,
yeah. Like my
I don't, I
husband,
don't know.
that one of the,
my
I
my
think one
husband
of
and
the, oh,
I,
sorry, go ahead.
my husband and I got more guy friends than women friends because I'm more like a dude. But um, we go out and we're all together. But I think he would have a problem if I like you said, Brandon, like if I went to some guy's house by myself
yeah.
and watched, Netflix and, or watched a football game, he doesn't have a problem hanging out with all of us together. But to do this
You're allowing the temptation into your
yeah,
marriage at that point, and
yeah,
it's just the respect of not allowing that temptation to be there.
exactly,
Well, I
exactly.
think some of what because I have kind of mixed feelings on this. I think the issue of why do you have that friend? If part of the things I've seen is I have that, I am in a relationship and I'm not getting something from my wife. I go find that from somebody else. That is toxic and bad.
Yes.
If you
Or a
have a good
monogamous
relationship with your right, if you have a good relationship and I'm trying to think, and your wife doesn't like to talk about podcasts, but you have a female who does, then that's not something you're replacing, or you're looking for
Exactly.
something. Yes, if you're replacing something that you need to get from your significant other with someone else, that's never good for a monogamous relationship. It's just
Right.
then it's way too easy. It's way too. I've said this before. I dated somebody who their best friend. I have a guy best friend. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's awesome. Well, the problem with that is when something goes wrong, where do you go for that emotional support? Where do you go for that shoulder to cry on?
Right.
If you go to him and not me, that's a problem.
Yes.
That's just a problem. As long as you come to me, then I don't care who your guy friends are.
Exactly.
But if you start not coming to me, then there's a problem.
And
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
know
maybe Scarlett and I probably aren't the best ones to talk about that because we see the value in having multiple people in our lives that we can go to someone else about things that our partner, like, okay, for instance, what Chase was saying. What if you are the problem at that moment and she doesn't want to come to you? She doesn't feel like coming to you at that moment. And so, yeah, she's going to want to go to someone, and that someone is going to be someone that she's comfortable with. And it may happen to be her guy best friend. So she's going to want to go to him.
And that's a problem.
Right. What about her girlfriend?
That's a problem.
Exactly.
Why would she take that?
And that's why I say perhaps Scarlett and I wouldn't be the best ones to talk about it, because we see the value in everybody, that they have certain things that we are compatible with. Not saying that we would love our main person any less or love that other person any more. We just see that value in that one particular aspect of that person.
I think
But you're not.
what we're getting.
We see the value in it. We just see the detriment.
Yes.
If you're in a monogamous relationship, it's not the value.
I also feel like but I also feel like that comes from a place of insecurity.
And it may
or,
be.
Or if
That's
I change
fine.
perception, I could say it comes from a place of respect.
That's where it's at least in my marriage, is me and my wife both may have that same insecurity. So we both respect that we have that insecurity, and both, without even talking to each other about it, agree upon, you know what, this is just not okay for our marriage. We shouldn't allow a temptation into our marriage. And again, 12 years is something to be appreciative of. So,
well, I mean, Scarlett and I have both been married, and we've both have long-term relationships. I mean, we've been married 10 plus years. So I get where you're saying, but again, that comes from a place of insecurity. And if you're that insecure that you don't want your significant other, or you yourself don't want to be in a room with someone by yourselves, then that to me is you lack the integrity for yourself.
What happens if I have absolute no intention of something happening between me and a female friend, and I'm at their house and we're discussing, I don't know, podcasts, okay? And she takes my natural, happy, charismatic personality that I am, and decides, while I'm next to her and I'm showing her, okay, this is what we're doing on the next episode, and she leans in and kisses me, and I'm like, whoa, this is not what I'm here for. I'm sorry if my demeanor came across otherwise, but that's not what I'm here for. And I have to now go home and tell that to my wife. That puts a strain on our marriage, even though I had absolutely no intention of anything like that happening. And is she going to believe me that happened? Probably not, because I allowed myself.
Well, I mean, I believe that comes with I believe that comes with good communication with your friends. I have had a male best friend for 10 plus years. I could never imagine him doing that because he understands whenever I'm in a relationship or even without, it's never going to happen. Like, don't ever
And-
cross that boundary.
And that's a little
Period.
different. My wife has that one male best friend. He doesn't live in the state anymore, but she does still communicate with him. She actually mentioned that today. She was like, I miss so-and-so so much. It really sucks that they live out of state. And I was like, yeah, it's not like you can just go down the street and hang out with them. And him personally, he has proven to me as a man that he's not someone who would attempt, anything like that. And
Right, but would you
that is
still
that
feel
one person that even I would be okay with.
But you would be okay with her going to his place and
Oh yeah.
watching
Stay
movies? Okay, that's because you're secure about that interaction.
That
So-
one person has made that impression to me that they are okay in her life. They have been
Right, but
best
that
friends
also
since
says a
she was-
lot about your
yeah.
partner. If you're not comfortable with your partner being in a room with the opposite sex, then that means you have insecurities, A, about your partner, and B,
No.
about your relationship. Yes.
No. I have insecurities
Absolutely.
about
Yeah,
another
no.
man attempting something and my wife being in a vulnerable position.
Exactly.
Okay, I have
that's
a question
if
about that. So my question would be, from what I heard earlier, the guys you want are a guy who's strong in his convictions, who says, no, I don't want my wife hanging out with a guy.
But that's
what y'all
controlling.
are saying you want somebody to say. But now
The
the
alpha
perspective
energy.
is that's controlling.
no,
Now it's
no.
bad energy. Now it's
It is. Hold on.
now it's
That is controlling. That is controlling. If you're in a, let's just say, I've been in a monogamous relationship, right? For my man to say, look, I don't do that cheating bullshit. I don't do that friendly kissing bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if that shit happens, then I am going to stay on my course and I'm fucking leaving. Period. If you say
Right.
that and she does it anyway, then that's on her. That has nothing to do with you. But you can't walk around with those insecurities. I don't want her in a room with another guy because I'm afraid the guy's going to kiss her. Well, dude, fucking grow up.
Hazel,
But why
there's a
would
big difference in being in a room with another guy and saying you can't go watch Netflix with another guy. Those are different things.
Exactly.
But one that you're saying, I want a guy to tell me, I want him to drive the ship, I want him to stay strong. And now what you're saying is, well, no, not if I want him to do that as long as I agree with him.
There is no incongruence here with what I said here, because you telling a woman she can't be in a room or Netflix or whatever with another man is rooted in your fear.
So
Right.
what we're missing
Of
here,
another guy
Every
kissing
action
her
can be
or
rooted.
whatever.
But
what we're
every
missing
action
here,
I can say is
And
rooted in fear.
let's say they did make out. I mean, obviously I'm coming from a non-monogamous standpoint here, but let's just say they did make out. So the fuck what?
Right.
that's the
There.
end
It's
of our
not she that's
relationship. That's what.
Well, you're right. That would end the
No, it's
monogamous
not.
relationship.
That would
It's
end my
your
marriage,
fear. It's your
That-
fear that ruins the relationship. It's not
No,
the
that-
kissing.
No.
It's your
That would end
fear
my
about
marriage.
what that means about you as a man, or about your relationship, or
No.
what it means
Oh
about
my
her
God,
respect
no.
of you, or
So
whatever it
in a
is.
monogamous relationship, I should be
No.
okay with my partner making out with another dude.
Yeah, it's not happening.
And if
It's not.
I'm not
I
okay with it,
understand,
it's because
but
I'm scared.
obviously I'm coming at it from a very different standpoint. But I would
Right.
argue monogamy is rooted in fear.
Absolutely.
It's insecurity.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Insecurity is just another word for fear. Insecurity is another word for
Or-
fear. It is rooted in
Or
fear.
not to go out on a tangent, but I could say, and polygamy is rooted in fear of opening up and letting yourself be with just one person. So you're going to find it in
Could go
different
both
ways, so you're not hurt. I could look at it in that perspective too. It's
No,
the
you
fear
know
of being
what?
with
I
one
could.
person.
Hold on. I
That'd
could
be a
argue
great
that
discussion
fact.
to have.
It would be. I would argue the fact
It would be
is
what?
because
I'm sorry, I
we.
missed that, Scarlett. I missed it. Sorry, Scarlett. I missed that.
Oh, I just said that would be a great discussion for us to have. We should have that discussion.
Oh,
on the
yeah,
podcast.
we're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Bring us in.
My point is, I think the argument is the same, but your perspective is different. You're seeing it as fear. He's seeing it as respect.
Yeah.
I'm seeing being polygamous as fear. You're seeing as being monogamy as fear. It's
I
the
would
perception
say
that you're looking at.
And I would say if monogamy is your value system, that is your value, then you're
is.
right. You should not be putting up with those things. You should be setting those boundaries and sticking to that,
So is it
and
still
not having
controlling?
fear for her leaving you by setting those boundaries.
But is it still controlling? If I'm just following my values, and she has the same values, let's keep that in mind. Let's keep that in mind.
Basically, it's you saying this is the terms and conditions that I will agree to be in a relationship with you.
Yes.
I want a monogamous relationship where we
Yes.
do not do these things with
Where
the
we do not
other
make out with
sex.
our friends. Yes, that's all I'm asking.
Right. So that is, if that's your value system, then correct. You shouldn't be fearing her leaving you by standing true to your values.
I think you misconstrue on, at least in my perspective. It's not that I fear her leaving me. I know how pussy thirsty men are, and I don't want her in a room with men that are going to try something, and then my wife end up maybe getting raped because she was at a party that I wasn't there to protect her at.
We're not talking about a party, or whatever.
Okay, let's say
I don't
she
know.
was alone with that friend that she thought was safe, and I wasn't there to protect her because then he decided that he was going to put hands on her, and she was not able to defend herself. I don't want that to be an option in my marriage. And my wife feels the same way. You know, she wouldn't want me in a room and years ago, way before we were married.
Brandon's seeing that as protecting. Brandon's seeing that as being a protector. You're seeing that as being insecure and fearful.
I'm not worried that she's going to leave me in the slightest. You know, like I said, I've been with her for 12 years. I am very comfortable in my marriage, and I know that I don't have any fear of my wife leaving. I'm more worried if she's in a scenario with a man that she thought was okay, but wasn't, because men can be snakes. And I think women can be snakes too in that aspect. I wouldn't put myself in a situation where a woman could come on to me when I didn't want it, because I've had that happen when I was younger. I literally had a girl come over, and for the first time, I knew her in high school. And, you know, after high school, we lost touch, and then we met up on an online dating thing. And it was like, hey, you know, like, let's go to the beach today. Well, it rained, so we all came back to the house. And I'm like, well, we're here at the house. We'll watch the movies. I'll make dinner for everybody. And my roommate at the time, he went out to go buy stuff to make dinner with, right? So me and her could have a little alone time. The moment he got out of the house, she slammed me onto a couch and tried to pull my pants off. And I was literally kicking this woman off me like, bro, this is not what I signed up for. I literally just talked to you for the first time in years.
Happen in a massage parlor once.
Landon, he's not lying.
I almost got raped by a Chinese, or Asian woman, okay, and all I was
in a
trying
happy
to
ending,
do
whether you liked it or
was
not,
get a
buddy.
massage. I wasn't looking to get like none of that sexual stuff happening, okay. But this lady was very adamant about getting my pants off, and she was doing it herself. I mean, I'm not saying she was a bad-looking Asian lady. I'm just saying that, you know, I was married, you know, monogamous relationship, and I only came to get my back massage because I never had it before, and I had the money for it. I wanted to try it out. But I didn't want to try her out.
See, and that's the kind of situation I'd be worried about, because
I'm sorry.
Like I said, when she came on to me like that, I physically had to kick her off of me. And just luckily enough, my roommate forgot his keys and came back in the house and was like, what is going on? I'm like, dude, she's nuts. Like, we got to get her out of here. So we take her back an hour across town back to where she came from. And then about halfway home, I realized my phone's gone, and she has stolen my phone. I have to go back to her house and beat on the door until I can get my phone back. So,
Brandon, let me give you like a real world example. In my business, I don't have closed door meetings with a single female.
Right.
That's not fearful. That's smart.
Exactly.
I'm not fearful. I'm not putting myself in a position where something can be said. I leave the door open, or I have my assistant in there with me. The same thing when my kids were younger and a babysitter stayed. 14 or 15-year-old babysitter, I didn't drive her home. Not by myself, I didn't. My wife and I drove her home, or my wife drove her home. That's not fear. That's smart. That's not putting yourself in a position where bad things can happen. I think that's what we're saying, or Brandon was saying, is I don't want to put me or my wife in a position where bad things can happen. Now, I think one person says that's controlling, one person says that's insecurity.
Well, I can see where you're coming from on that. I definitely can see where you're coming from. However, if I'm in a monogamous relationship and I say, "Hey, I'm gonna go hang out with Tyrone," I would not expect my partner to say no. You cannot hang out with him because he's a guy.
Okay, Hazel. What if he says this?
I
What
can't
if you
compete
What
with
if you
that
say
beer.
I'm gonna go? What if you say I'm gonna go hang out with Tyrone, and we're in a monogamous relationship, and I say Hazel, my last girlfriend, I was with her for 4 years, and she cheated on me with her best friend, and I really feel uncomfortable about that right now.
And you know what I
You
would
still
tell
go?
you? You know what
Ooh,
I would tell you? I would
ooh.
say, baby,
Sure.
I understand your concern. However, that is something that you need to heal within yourself because that is it. That's something that you have that is unhealed. I am not your ex. I love and I respect you. You need to sort that
Okay,
out within
so
yourself.
you and I are dating now, and your ex was very physical with you sexually, and I start touching you, say, please stop. I need a minute because of what happened in my past. I get to look at you and say, Hazel, deal with that shit on your own. I'm not having to. I mean, really?
Why
I don't
not?
think that because that's
Oh,
the most
that's
insensitive.
insensitive.
Oh, that's insensitive. It shows I don't care about you. It
No, no,
Yes.
shows that
no,
your
no, no.
feelings don't
You
matter.
care, to me, you care enough to call that shit out and say, hey, I love you. I want you to heal from this so that there in the future, this doesn't come up again.
So should he
But in
stop?
the meantime, while you're healing, I get to do whatever I want to you, even though if it causes trauma to you or not.
Right.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is something like
Well,
that.
you
Sexual trauma
are.
is very real, right? So what
So
I'm
is the
saying
trauma
is,
So's
of being
emotional
cheated
trauma.
on.
So's emotional trauma.
well, yeah,
They're
but
both
you
very
need to heal
real.
that shit. You need to heal that shit before you enter a relationship.
That goes
So
both
Okay.
ways.
if you
That
say
goes
you're
I
going
both
to stay
agree.
ways, though,
with
right?
No, no,
Tyrell,
no. I agree. I agree. Yes, it goes both ways. So a female shouldn't enter a relationship that has fear of her partner cheating on her or whatever it is. She needs to heal herself from those past traumas. Just like a guy needs to heal his traumas from being cheated on or whatever
So
the
what?
case may be.
let's take it as right. You didn't learn that in the relationship, right? You say you're going to hang out with your best friend Tyrell. Uh, Chase said, "Hey, my past relationship happened. She cheated on me with you know, her best friend. Are you still going to go do it?"
I'm going to look at my partner and say, listen, I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
Let's figure this out to get you some help so therefore you can heal from that.
So are you still going to Tyrell's house?
But I'm still going to go to Seago Tyrone.
Exactly.
That's the question
Yeah,
I'm
I
asking.
probably would.
Okay, so when it comes around the second thing, your ex boyfriend was very physical with you, and you're like, whoa, 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 I'm my last boyfriend was very physical with me. Should he stop and
He should
say,
just look at you and say, "You need to deal with that, and you need to heal," and he should still do what he wants.
but should he stop trying to touch you and have that physical relation because you still need to heal from that trauma?
What I'm saying is give her time to go heal that. So the next time he wants to touch her in that way,
While
she
you're at
has
Terrell's house.
While you're
Right.
right,
while you're at Terrell's house.
right.
You understand
So
the
that
double
way,
standard there, right?
how? Because you're both allowing each other. You're both allowing in both instances a place to heal.
Well, hold on now.
Not
That's not
everybody realizes
Not
that.
with you at Terrell's house. I
we're
ain't
saying
healing.
we're saying that we don't feel
Right.
you comfortable going to Terrell's house because of this emotional
But
trauma that we
but
but
that's a
for
you
you,
thing. That
but
is
That's
a
what
a
I'm
you
saying
you
thing.
is,
That's not a
thing.
me
but
thing.
what I'm trying to tell you is that you feel that that's okay. However, when I'm trying to touch you and do all this stuff, and you're like, "Whoa, hold on a second, my ex boyfriend was very physical, and I just don't feel comfortable with that," you think I should have to stop when I tell
I
you,
think.
"Well, you need to fix that on your own." So technically, I shouldn't have to stop. I mean, if it's equality with you
But
still
hold
going to
on. If a female is telling you to stop touching her, then fucking stop touching her.
Agree.
for
We
real,
totally agree. This
that's
is
not a joke.
just
I'm
for
just saying
principle, is what we're
in
saying.
the aspect of the question is it okay to still go to Tyrell's house even though your man's telling you he doesn't feel comfortable with it and you say yes? While on the other
Because
aspect,
that's coming from a place of insecurity. It's not the same as if a female has rape trauma and she's bringing she has flashbacks of that. That to me is
being
different.
cheated on by Terrell. It's
Right,
emotional
yeah.
and physical
Flashbacks about
trauma.
that.
Both still are trauma.
I caught you and Tyrell in bed at my house.
I physically saw it. Now I'm having
Like,
flashbacks.
Then is that different?
Trauma is what we're getting at. So it's not
Right.
okay to pursue what caused the trauma when the other person is feeling those issues because they haven't resolved those issues yet.
I'm 100% in agreement with a consent is a priority.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Don't
Consent
get that
has
No
to-
is no every time. Yes. No is never maybe. No is no every time.
Right.
Yes.
But what we're saying
what
is
I'm saying-
trauma is trauma. It doesn't make it okay
if
to still go
trauma's
to Terrell's
trauma,
house
no
if that's
should
going
be
to
no all the way
traumatize your
around.
partner. He hasn't healed from that yet. So it's not okay to go to Terrell's house yet. If he ever
Well,
heals from it. And if that doesn't happen, well, then you'll need to rehash things and figure out what you're doing.
Well, that's what I say. I'm probably not the best person to talk about that because I am non-monogamous, and I couldn't imagine myself being someone who still has trauma that they haven't dealt with. To me, that's a self-awareness thing, that if you are self-aware, then you realize that you have those traumas and you fix those within yourself. That has nothing to do with that other person.
Oh, I agree.
That is
I
all I'm
think
saying.
that you should definitely, when you get out of this bad relationship where you got a lot of traumas, yes, I think it's an absolute must that you need to try and work on these traumas without getting into another relationship. You should not jump from one body to another. That should never happen. You need to take the time to heal yourself before you go off and bleed on somebody else. For fact.
But
That's
if you
not a-
do end up in a relationship and the other person has an unhealed trauma that you weren't aware of, you have to respect it and give them time to heal or move on, because you can't have it both ways. You can't continue to traumatize them if they haven't found a way to figure it out yet. Then you need to have that conversation and figure all that out, on top of it.
Yeah.
Keith, I think Keith's making the point that on the comments that it's also like we're saying, he's saying it's a respect thing too. And I think some people look at it as respect and some people look at it as insecurity or fear. It's perception. I mean, it just is. If my partner looked at me and said, hey, we need to keep $50,000 in the bank. Why? Because my last husband spent it all on gambling and drugs and we were broke and I got evicted. I don't know that I should look at her and go, screw you. No, I mean, that's him, not me. That's a trauma. That's her reality we have to deal with. That's how you get that person. You can decide not to take that person.
Yeah,
but if
which is
you've
fine.
decided that's your person, then that's part of them. You get the good and the bad. You just don't
Yep.
get the good.
It's the part of the monogamy.
I mean, that's right. I mean, that's
And that's why I said
you know.
I can't again, that's why I said I'm probably not the best person to speak about that, is because I am non-monogamous. So you may have to talk to Willow about that.
All right. Well, on
But
that
if
note,
you
I guess
found
we do
Mr.
need to
if
kind
you
of wrap
found
it up.
Mr. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
do
just
need to
say
kind of
that.
wrap it up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had been live streaming this long. I didn't realize we could have such a deep conversation. That's crazy.
This is our whole podcast.
I love
Now
it.
the good thing is we have this, then we go have a beer afterwards.
Yeah, I
love
Yeah.
it.
It's long and everything else. Yeah.
Let's go to Applebee's, guys.
Right.
I don't think that
Well, here
one's
lately
happening.
we've been having cocktails before the podcast.
I hear Pompadours is pretty popular.
and during the podcast.
No. Right. No to Papados. Right, Scarlett?
I love Papados. Don't be hating.
Yeah.
We were
Papados is the
discussing this
bomb.
before the podcast. Me and Landon don't know what that is. We've never seen one, never heard of one.
Well, that's because we don't have
You need to
Papados
come
on the
to
East
Dallas
Coast.
and go to Papados.
No, you don't. South Carolina,
Yes, you
you guys
do.
have fresh seafood, so you guys probably would not care for Papados.
Oh, is it that bad?
I'm coming from North Carolina. We have fresh seafood. It's no.
I mean, we
would you
jump
say-
in the
Brandon, when you and
Yeah,
Landon
it's
come to
not
Dallas, we're absolutely going to Applebee's. Don't kid yourself and think we're not. Yeah, don't kid yourself and think
We're
we're
getting $4 beers all night.
not. All night, brother.
We'll take you to an Exxon too. Or maybe a
Yes,
Buc-
I'm
Look,
gonna Slim
or
Jim.
Okay, well,
Buc-ee's.
they can
A
take you to
Buc-ee's.
Applebee's and they can take you to Papa Do's, and I'll take you guys to Swingers Club. How about that?
Oh,
Okay,
hold
I'll
on.
probably
I
be
gotta stand in my
observing.
conviction. I cannot join you there, but I can join
Oh.
you at a fancy somewhere else.
I can go.
Hey,
Papa
guys,
knows. I'll
I
take
would
you
say-
there.
Participate.
I would
I'll
like to say
observe.
thank
I
you.
guess.
Thank you very much for having us on tonight, guys. I had a blast.
Yeah, thank
certainly.
you.
Yes, thank you
It was-
guys.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
a lot
great.
of fun.
It was great.
Can I just say that I appreciate how we can all have differing opinions and even get into a heated debate and still be like 100%
I love
on
it.
board with each other at the end? I love that.
Yeah, it's a
I like I said,
Debating's
this is
fun.
how the podcast goes every episode. You know, we don't always agree with each other. We try to see from everyone's perspectives, but at the end of the day, we still, respect each other's perspectives on things. And I think that's what makes the podcast work for us.
Absolutely. That's why I like listening to it. Like I said,
Yeah.
y'all are part of my nightly routine at this point. I work night shift, so I'm up all
Aw,
night.
That's
doing
awesome.
this.
Aw.
Thank you.
That's so sweet.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
y'all for coming on the show. This is like
Yeah, no
meeting
joke.
heroes. Like, look at this.
best podcast.
So don't
Aw.
forget, guys, our episodes drop every Friday. So
Every
take a
Friday.
listen.
Right.
Hit
It
us up.
drops
We're on
tomorrow.
social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So like and follow and chat with us. Let us know what you guys think about the episodes that drops.
Oh,
Okay.
and we are launching a Discord server. So you guys should get into our Discord. We're going to be announcing that coming up really soon. And we're going to be interacting with our listeners on a weekly basis. So
Well,
if
yeah.
anybody
give us
wants
the
to
link.
come hang out with us there.
I will most certainly join the server.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We
We'll be
have a
looking for you
Discord
guys.
server. We just haven't been like announcing it and publicizing it, but we do have
Right.
one that, like close friends are a part of, but we've never really
Oh, cool.
publicized it.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. We'll look for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
All right, everybody.
starting
Send us the
in
link.
January, January 16th, every Monday night, at least I will always be on there, and hopefully a lot of the tribe will be there as well. And I'm wanting to do like Jackbox games and question and answers and
Yes.
just a lot of
Love
fun stuff
Jackbox.
where listeners can interact with us.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I love it. All right, guys.
Yeah,
Well, we're going
follow
to wrap
our
it up.
social media and we'll be sending the link.
Our 3-hour podcast. This is the first one. We do 30-minute episodes.
We might usually make
Good night,
an hour,
guys.
Good night. Take care, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks for stopping by the tavern.